Hello, welcome to the Fast Life Podcast. Man, it's hard not having my brother here to do this shit, so you guys got to bear with me while I try to figure out how to put all this stuff together and make it all work so you can hear this podcast that we just did with Mr. John Jessup. That's how you say it, right? I don't want to say it wrong. Your name's pretty easy. Yeah. Me and my wife, we drove out here from Texas. We took the last 3 days, I believe, slow rolling it up through New Mexico and Colorado, Utah, Nevada, and dropped down in here in NorCal through Reno. And, man, the scenery's been amazing. So I've been, really looking forward to getting on a bike and coming through the same route. So really jazzed about all that. We're kind of just now starting the actual, I don't know, what would you call this? Like, we're just now starting to interact with other people. Because we've been kind of like alone for the last 4 days, just kind of doing our own thing. So, yeah. So we just now kind of got to Stockton, and we're going to be moving our way west and then down towards LA and whatnot. So I wanted to try to get this podcast out, Tuesday, which hopefully if you're hearing this, it is Tuesday. And you can check out all the stuff that we got going on. John's put on a little, what do you call it, impromptu bike night? Impromptu. Yeah. So Wednesday night, down at John's place in Stockton, we're going to have a little bike night out there. So if you're in the area or within driving range, don't you come out and say hi and shoot the shit, meet some more locals. I'd love to meet you guys as well. And I think it's 6 to 9 Wilson Way, right? If you follow any of the social medias, you'll see all the stuff for it, so you can easily get a hold of or see the details to that event there. This podcast is brought to you by Texas Performance MC. Right before I left, I got a chance to take all my motor from my Dyna and my FXR down there to get him to check it out and see what I'm working with. And he checked the Dyna out, and it looks like I'm doing a 100-inch kit on it. Not jazzed on spending the money, but, super jazzed on having Mark build another motor for us and riding it across country and putting it to the test and seeing what it can do, especially a twin cam. I never really had a super pumped up twin cam. And I don't think 100 inches like probably the most pumped up twin cam there is on the market, but definitely for me, I'm pretty excited. So I'm happy about that. I can't wait to see what it feels like. But yeah, check out Mark, TexasPerformanceMC.com. Also on IG, if you're in Cedar Park, check him out. He's got a full service shop over in Cedar Park, Texas. Full dyno tuning and all that good performance jazz. He's got the magic touch for it, so you can check him out and do all that mess there. Also, Horsepower Inc. Probably heard it before. I'm getting better at their advertisement since I'm, new to it, I guess you'd say. HorsepowerInc.net. Horsepower Inc. on Instagram. Horsepower Inc. Indy on Facebook. Last time I called it Cindy. It's weird. But if you know anything about Horsepower Inc. For fuel injection bikes and all that stuff, I think they work on other bikes as well as far as their shop is concerned. But they're known for their big bore throttle bodies and large diameter setups for big power making motors, basically. Check them out on their social media, man. It looks like they're doing some badass shit. And like I said before, we're planning on going up to see them probably the beginning of June to do a podcast with these guys and learn more about their business and their operation. And from what I know, they've been in the industry for quite a while, so it'd be pretty dope to hear all that stuff. But if you're in Indy, check them out. They do dyno tuning and performance for V-twin motorcycles, so they're pretty much your go-to shop for horsepower up in the northern Midwest. I don't know what that would be considered. Indianapolis, whatever that's close to, right? Also, a Paint Huffer Metal Flake on IG. Yeah, Paint Huffer Metal Flake. We use their shit all the time. We're actually going to be having them on the podcast at the end of this trip. So super looking forward to that. Don't forget to check them out on their website, painthuffer.com, where you can order all their flakes, all their different varieties of stuff that they sell. Pretty dope setups. I mean, we use all their shit in our shop. We're advocates, whether we're getting sponsored by them or not. So check out their flake. They're on everything we do. If you use their shit, check it out. You can tag them in the stuff on Instagram, get your shit reposted, get your stuff seen. Just use their stuff. Obviously, don't be tagging them if you use House of Color flake or something. Don't be an asshole. But yeah, check them out. Painthuffer.com, Paint Huffer Metal Flake on IG. And yeah, I think that's about it. I don't really want to make this too long because I got to figure out how to put this fucking thing together. to make this whole podcast work for you guys. So check us out, the Fast Life Garage on Instagram, fastlifegarage.com. You can get a link to our Patreon where you can help support us doing motorcycle shit with our motorcycle friends. That's the main goal for it. So thank you, and hope you enjoy this podcast. Appreciate it.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
Yep. So, okay, we're good now.
All right.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's John Jessup. I own Dream Rides in Stockton. We pretty much do anything there is to do with a Harley, from baggers, softails, but my personal favorite's FXRs.
Yeah.
You know,
You got quite a few nice ones in the shop, as we just saw.
yeah, you know, we've definitely gained a little bit of notoriety the past year and a half since I built the red one.
Yeah.
It definitely launched us to a little bit more of a different level, I think.
So I guess until the red one's, you know, obviously one of my most favorite FXRs there. So we'll get to that. So how, like, I guess, what was your steps in starting your business? Because you were telling me you've been doing this for quite a while.
Okay, all right.
So let's start
in the beginning.
there, and then let's
we'll
just,
go
you know,
total Joe Dirt style here.
Yeah, there we go.
So, I worked at Harley. I was a parts guy.
Yeah.
And my first bike was a 2000 Fat Boy. I maxed out every credit card I had on that damn thing, put the big beach bars on it. And
what year was this?
This is 2001. I bought this bike because it was used. It was only 1 year old. It was 2001. I started at the Harley dealer. I believe spring of 01. And
That's when I graduated high school.
yeah, well, I'm not. I graduated in '96.
Okay, that's not too far. Yeah,
you know, I'm not that much older. But I was waiting tables at Black Angus. But obviously, I didn't want to be a waiter for the rest of my life. And I made good enough money to go buy a Harley, or finance a Harley from the loan sharks at the time. And I bought this bike, and then I took it to the service department, and like I had $1,000 bill, and I was like, "Holy shit! Like, I need to learn how to work on this thing."
Yeah,
you know, like I cannot afford.
Was it a twin cam or an
Yeah, it was a twin cam.
Okay,
so first year of the twin cam. And I applied for a job at Harley because I only waited tables at nighttime, and they hired me. And like 2 years later, we started a business called Delta Bike Works. I had a partner at the time. He had a big Airborne Express route, and he saw what I did with this Fat Boy. He's like, "We need to open a shop."
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I'm like 23 years old. No experience of running anything other than like I managed to make my bike payment on time.
Yeah.
You know? And I was like, you know, confidence has always been like, I'm overconfident on most things. So I was like, you know, let's do this. We got this. And it lasted 2 or 3 years. We opened our doors. I was having guys walk in with 30 grand, 40 grand, like they just watched.
Well, that point in time, I mean, so you're talking 2002, 3, 4, 5. So you're talking like balls deep into the chopper movement.
Oh yeah.
So,
no, the shit on TV was huge. Like we were all glued to the TV watching Jesse James and you know all that kind of thing, and we were getting these big builds. You know, but I was so young and dumb. If you handed me $30 grand to build a bike, I was damn sure going to spend 40.
Yeah.
You know, and it was great. You know, that partnership ended in the beginning of 2004. And my uncle loaned me some money to start my own deal. So I was like 25 years old, 24, 25, started Dream Rides in September of '04. And I rented the biggest building. I got a 15,000 square foot building. My rent was $6,000 a month.
Damn.
You know,
Back then,
but like
too.
back then, like guys, like I said, guys were walking in with fat stacks.
Yeah, that
You
makes
know,
sense.
like I
You know, back then, you know, because 2004 is whenever I first started getting to do motorcycle paint jobs. And mind you, I was just like wet sanding and stuff,
Yeah.
no real artwork or anything like that. Didn't even paint, just wet sanded and buff, that's it. And we were getting 3-piece chopper tanks in there that were paying $3,500, $4,500, $5,500. And we could do 3 or 4 a week, you know, with the 3-man crew that I worked with. So the money back then in motorcycles was just like rock star shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You know, it was definitely a different time, but I was so young. I thought at that point, if this is where I'm starting, you know, move over Sims and Arlen Ness, here comes John Jessup.
Yeah.
You know, which was completely the wrong way to go about it.
Yeah.
You know, I thought I was something special, you know, and I really wasn't. You know, I was just a guy who had another bike shop in another town in America, you know. And then the economy died in '08. You know, I was into baggers, like, you know,
were you mainly doing the fat tire chopper stuff? Is that what?
You know, I begin with the fat tire chopper. So let me back up a little bit.
Yeah.
So right before I left Harley, I wanted another bike because at that time you could only you had to be on a waiting list for a bike. Well, a used bike was selling more than a new bike, and I knew before I left there I could buy one at $500 over their cost. So I bought a '04 Electric Glide Standard, only brand new bike I've ever bought, with the express intent of selling it. You know, then I rode it, and I kept riding it, and my fat boy was sitting, and it was sitting, and I fell in love with an Electric Glide. I was like, you know, why would I want to ride this fat boy and get beat up?
Yeah.
I rode it to Laughlin, my fat boy with my beach bars. We got down there. Everything sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher because I'm wearing a novelty helmet. You know, my ears are blown out. Then we got this bagger, and I was like, oh my God, I love this bike.
Yeah.
So I got into baggers. I got out of choppers, got into baggers, and we were doing 21s and wraparound fenders and stretch tanks and.
Well, at that time, 2004, it's like Ness was like pretty much your only go-to for stretch bag.
No, I didn't do stretch bags. Like I like to corner.
Yeah.
You know, I would do a 21-18 typical setup, wraparound fender with a Yaffe stretch tank.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty much off the shelf.
So
parts.
what time frame was this? Was this like?
This is 05 and 06.
Okay.
You know, a little bit 07. You know, and then the economy died. Like I had to sell everything I owned to keep my shop going. My motorcycle. I lost my house. Like everything was going nuts. You know, it just happened to happen right after Street Vibrations. Like it was the end of 07. Well. What happens in the motorcycle business? At least up here, Street Vibration would happen, and then we die, right? Well, at the time, I had like 4 guys working. I had a secretary. Like, thought I was doing big things, and the bottom fell out. Well, I didn't realize the bottom had fallen out. Like, so I kept paying these guys, kept going in more and more in debt, and just trying to figure it out. I sold everything I had, downsized the shop. And I was down to me and one other guy. You know, we were just trucking, you know, just pushing, doing any kind of tire service, anything that would keep the doors open. It's when I got into used parts. You know, like eBay kept me in business for a long time, just, you know, hustling, doing whatever I could do to keep the shop going.
So, you know, in Dallas, when that housing shit, that bubble bursted in 2008, like, online on news and everybody, we hear about it, but we didn't feel it.
Oh no, we felt it here.
Yeah.
It was insane. Like, it was like a light switch went off.
For real.
Yeah, no, it was like all of a sudden, I'm telling you, it was like October of 07.
Mm-hmm.
The phones quit ringing. Bill collectors still want their money.
Yeah.
Like, everybody still wants their money, and I'm just thinking it's cool. Just hold on until mid-January. Mid-January, Easy Rider hits, second week of January. Everybody gets excited about bikes. They got income taxes coming. Like, we're off and running again.
Yeah.
It's just the normal winter slump.
That's what this is a little segue off that, but this is one thing that I do love about this side of this part of the town, and the reason why I think the motorcycle community is so strong up here is because you have all the right amount of events at the right times of year. So, what happens is, let's just do a timeline. So some new rider gets drugged to Street Vibrations with his buddies. He falls in love with the custom bikes. He wants to do one. Oh shit. 3-4 months later, we have Easy Rider in Sac. Bam, I got to get a bike ready for that. Then right after that, you got Hollister. Hollister's more in the middle of the year.
July 4th weekend.
And then you got Laughlin, which is relatively close enough for you guys to do a day ride to, basically. Isn't there another? There's something in between, like, I'm missing something. I know there's Dixon. Dixon is like the beginning of September, I believe.
Yeah, I believe September. Then we got Madera next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
If you're listening to this, come see me at the Madera Renegade Rendezvous show.
Yeah.
That's going to be pretty exciting.
But see, what this stuff does, what having those events do is, for businesses like yours and mine, is it keeps the aftermarket going, because it keeps inspiring people to want to build and do custom shit to their bikes. If the only thing you do on your bike is jump and ride to a bike night or ride around town, like, yes, you could still get that inspiration to want to customize your bike, but when you're at a show and there's a line of badass bikes, or like the fucking, when you brought out the red FXR last year at the Sacramento FXRs of California show, dude, that's what gets people going. Seeing all these bikes in a collective stance, and so that's why we've been talking a lot about people and helping push shows, because I think a lot of people don't understand the importance of a show and events. Yes, it is an event to get out and have a good time and see your boys, but for industry, it drives it.
No, without a doubt. Like, that's something that, listen to your podcast, and, I had a guy hit me up, I don't know, middle of last year, whenever we started doing the bike night, saying, hey, where's a local bike night? And I was like, there isn't one. And I was like, but if you want to help me put one on, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had these guy on a Sportster, Tyler, and Christian and Alex.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, we'll help you. Just young kids who are
hungry.
Just down, hungry. They're excited. So between Dynaholics and the FXR pages and just my normal social media following and all this, like, we're getting huge attendance.
Mm-hmm.
And I went into it with the mindset, as a business owner, part of it is you're always looking at things through that business sense. Like, how can I capitalize on this? How can I make money? But I decided early on, like, you know what? My shop's as busy as it can be. Like, I have to hire more people for me to be busier. And at this point, it's not about, like, necessarily promoting my shop or anything. It's more for promoting the motorcycle community in our area. I want people to have a place. Like, our last bike night, we had guys from Gearhead show up. We'll have Brian up from TPJ. Like, I want everybody to come.
Yeah.
Like, you got a bike shop, you're welcome at my shop. And I want to go to your shop, because we're all doing the same thing. We're all feeding our families from the motorcycle industry.
Yeah.
And the more people out riding bikes, having a good time doing it, the better we're all going to do. Either we're all going to sink or we're all going to swim.
Yeah, and that's one thing a lot of people, even though you're technically your shop's kind of what I would consider an older shop in the industry, what I've noticed with a lot of the older mentalities is it's very cutthroat. Like I said plenty of times in this podcast, is that you have people that weren't around for the internet. So they only looked at their opportunity for business as the people that are crossing their path on a main street or the yellow pages or whatever old forms of advertising. So what happens is like you get these dudes that are like very standoffish and very I think the right word's cutthroat, but it's
yeah,
like
no, I know that's how it used to be.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it was shops would just talk shit on each other, and just it was kind of a negative experience. You know what I mean? Even though we're all the same dudes doing the same thing, you know, trying to make a living. We're drag specialties or biker's choice or whatever. They're all selling us the same parts at the same cost. You know, and we just decided early on that, hey, you know what, we're not going to talk shit.
Yeah, it's way better.
We're not going to do it because it's not good for business. Customers don't come in here, and if you're talking shit, they're not more likely to spend money with you.
You also got to watch out for those customers that come in and want a bag on the shop they left to come to your place for.
Because you're next.
Yeah, and it's like, and a lot of people fall into that trap. They're like, and you know what? It's real funny because I can account for plenty of customers in my lifetime in this business that do that literally hop around shops and just want to stir up drama, and because it gives them substance in their life, it makes them feel like they're a part of something. Like, you know, I can't build a bike, I can't paint a bike, I got a little bit of money to go float around and have work done here and there, but really what makes me get off is like being the center of the drama between them all. And you know, I've realized that, and I get to a point where, you know, you get a guy that hits me up about paint, and it's like, man, I talked to this other guy, I'm like, man, you should probably use him because he's really badass. Well, you know, he just didn't do this and you did, and I really appreciate that. I'm like, I appreciate that. It's cool. You know, I just got to tell him, hey, no, you know, he's in business just like me. You know, he's going to do the best he can do for you. I'm going to do the best I can do for you. But, you know, sometimes you hear them and they have these over-the-top expectations from people, you know. Yeah,
no, without a doubt. There are customers who like to play musical shops. There are customers who are very loyal. And there are customers who are loyal for a while, and then for whatever reason they want to try somewhere else. You know, I've just gone into it with the expectation of, hey, you know what? I'm just going to do the best job I can do on your bike this time. And if you come back, I'm greatly appreciative. I'm not going to get my feelings hurt if you go somewhere else. Like, you know, like, we're not married. You're not my girlfriend. You're a grown adult. You can go wherever you want. You can do whatever you want. If you bring it to me, I'm going to do the best job that I know how to do. There might be guys who are better than me, you know, and that's great. You know, I'm going to be better at them than some other things. Like, I think it all equals out. You know, the shop thing is going really good. We've got a pretty good relationship. South of us, we have Gearheads. We have Paul Binford. Binford's into the bagger thing. Well, he's into everything, but
his main thing
we just have completely different styles,
and that's what I try to promote. Yeah,
but that's awesome. Like, you know, I'm not into all the same shit he's into, but that's cool because not everybody's into the same shit I'm into.
Yeah,
you know, and I really think that's what's so awesome about this industry in particular is you buy a Harley. You have so many varieties of ways to customize it, to go to different guys who do different things with them. You know, try and buy an RV or some other, you know,
different,
you know, some other vehicle, like, and try and find someone who knows every bolt on that thing. Yeah, it's gonna be hard. Yeah, it's real hard. You know, you can hand me a pile of bolts and I'm like, oh, I know where those go.
Yeah.
You know, and probably you too,
exactly.
Right? You know, you've taken apart so many baggers or so many bikes, you just know. You know, that other industries don't have that. They just don't.
And it sucks that, like, you know, like you said, you referenced the RVs and stuff, and you think about all the, like, the different career paths that people take, that they really just have that job where they're just a middleman between another product. Or, you know, like a realtor for a house, and it's like, fuck, like this dude just showed somebody a house. They didn't build it, they didn't create it, they didn't do anything, and they're making more money off that sale than we probably do in a month or two. You know,
but that's the path we chose.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like, you can become a real estate agent right now. Like, there's a million of them. You got to take this course, and then you got to be like the Amway guy who just like, I'm gonna succeed. Well, you know, a lot of people don't. You know, same thing.
Well, I think that you in those type of businesses, like you just stated, like there's so many people in it that for you to actually be, you know, in it and winning, you have to almost have this this unauthentic personality where you're really all about the sell and the next thing. And I think that's what's good about the motorcycle industry is that we're able to have a personality that we sell with our products, or like you said, the style that you do your bikes compared to Benford's is way different.
Yeah.
And there's a shit ton of people that like your shit, and there's a shit ton of people like Benford's, and there's no reason why y'all can't have a booth next to each other at Street Vibes.
No, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In my opinion, the way it should be is we all have things we can learn from one another.
Mm-hmm.
And the only people who suffer by us not talking and not communicating and doing things like this, that what works for me, what works for you, this and that, is us, right?
Yeah.
We're our own victims. If we're dickheads and we don't want to talk to each other, how stupid is that? You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, you get a lot of, like I said, not to always bash on customers, but you just kind of get you put so much power in their hands to where they get to play these little manipulative games with you, running around across the street. Well, they said they'll do it for this price, and we don't talk. So, what I've noticed and what I do sometimes is now that I'm friends with a lot of painters across America, and now that nowadays, which is amazing, but nowadays I'm not selling paint jobs to Dallas Fort Worth. Like I almost never paint anything for the city I'm in. So our customer base is basically a national level now. So now when someone in Pittsburgh hits me up to do a paint job, I can easily hit my boy Jeremy and go, hey man, did this guy come to you? Did you quote him a price for a paint job? Yeah, he came to me, he said this much. I'm like, all right, well, I'm not trying to undercut you. What did you charge him? That's what I'm charging for me. So that maybe he'll have more incentive to go to Jeremy for his own town. And B, if he does come to me, at least Jeremy doesn't feel like I fucked him.
No,
you know what I mean?
Without a doubt. There are customers who are going to try and manipulate you. And if you're a young business and you don't you're thriving on every single sale and it's week to week and this and that, you might fall into that temptation.
Yeah, definitely.
All you got to do is look at the internet right now and any of these pages. Watch. If someone puts a post up, hey, what are the best shocks to run? Right?
Yeah.
What are the best shocks to run? You'll have 5 different shops all in there trying to sell them the same products from drag specialties, and they're all undercutting each other. And it's very easy to fall in that trap because you're like, well, shit. If I can make $50 on this sale, normal retail is like on Legends, you get a certain percentage off, and it's not that much.
Yeah.
And guys are undercutting that just to make a sale, and they're hurting everybody. But the customer wins, and that's cool. That's just how it is. But you can't. If you're listening to this and you open a bike shop, the worst thing you can do is fall for that trap.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Stick to your standards. Do jobs that are good for you.
Yeah.
You have to charge a reasonable price, but it's got to be reasonable for the customer and for you.
Yeah.
Having guys who work for me, I got to be able to pay them. And I look at other businesses that pay big money. I'm like, what the hell am I doing wrong? I got to figure out how. Not only to take care of me, but I want to take care of these guys. Yeah,
you want your people that work for you to be, to feel like they're, if they're just getting by, then they're more likely to jump ship whenever, a better opportunity comes. But if you're actively investing in them and trying to make them an asset to your company, then, you get a much better employee, and you get someone that actually, feels like they have an ownership in your business, which is what you really want with the people that work for you.
No, without a doubt. And it's something... I never went to business school, I've learned this just through doing it.
It's common sense after a while, and
it's something, hopefully the John Jessup 5 or 10 years from now looks back and says, oh, wow, you had a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to take care of your employees, you got to charge the right amount to a customer, and those are hard lessons to learn in this business, I think.
I feel like when it comes to the service work and the performance work, like you were talking earlier about spending, your X amount of dollars an hour, this is usually how many hours it takes to do a bike. For instance, my buddy Mark that has that Texas Performance, obviously the prices for things in Texas are way cheaper than out here, but, most of the dealerships are around $100 an hour. He's a first year shop, so he did his labor rate at $60 an hour. I told him it was too low. personally.
Way too low.
But then he's been slowly bumping it up, but he's been trying to get people to come to his business. And it's, I mean, he does good, you know. I think his business is stout, but at the same time, it's like for that price range and his skill level, I feel like, why the hell do you even have time to have a conversation with me right now?
Well,
you know,
the part of the deal is, like, anymore, I really feel, well, now I'm segmenting myself because I only know our area.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I haven't owned businesses all across the nation. You know, I know the Harley dealers have their hands tied in California, and there's a bunch of stuff, you know, that's going on that probably I don't even understand.
Yeah.
But the independent guys, in my opinion, are the specialists.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You can walk in to my shop, and I have a lot. I've been doing this 20 years now. You know, I have a lot of knowledge. You know, I'm not the smartest guy in the world by any means, and there's a million guys who are smarter than me. But I feel like I've got a good grasp on what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And you can come into me and talk to me about your 05 Fat Boy or your 2008 Road Glide or your 2014 Street Glide. I'm pretty much going to know what's going on that.
Mm-hmm.
Harley dealers aren't that way so much anymore.
Yeah.
You know, Harley dealers are more hiring just widget sellers.
Car salesmen, people
know?
that have sales
Well,
background.
you know, the sales thing's a whole different deal, but go to a parts department. You know, I'm lucky our parts department is pretty good, but, you know, their business model is they've got this huge dealership. They got to pay for that thing somehow.
Well, see, at the same time, like, you know, if they were, you know, I don't know, like I said, from our end, they don't pay the people that work for Harley enough. Like, the people that work behind the parts counters aren't getting the kind of paycheck that they need. So they're literally there as like a transitional period until something better comes along. So some of them may super be into the parts and the motorcycles. Some of them are just, you know, they're just open that drag book and put in numbers.
But that's the American way anymore, right?
Yeah.
When I started in Harley, we had a service department manager who had been there a long time. Our parts department manager had been there a long time. They were professionals. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
You know, not that the guys now don't know what they're doing, but what I'm in a different sense. They had worked for the same dealer for a long time. They had been in the motorcycle industry for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
They realized that in this industry, it's not just another widget. It's not like, you know, oh, well, we can all open a book and just sell the same shit, you know, like the guy who works at Bass Pro Shop or wherever. You know, it's different, you know, and somehow, some way that changed. You know, now, you know, I assume it's because of overhead or whatever, you know. Harley.
I think the abundance of people that are coming out of MMI, a lot of people come out of MMI and they get stuck behind a parts counter until, you know, and they have to work their way into a service department or something like that. But also, you know, I always think about this for myself is like, you know, when I like all bikes. I really do like them all. But if you ask me like all the trending best parts for baggers right now in the big wheel sense, I'm not on that wagon as much as I was before. So my enthusiasm for a customer, you know, I try to put myself, if I was going to go work at Harley and work behind the counter, I was like, I would be trying to turn every bike into like a performance Harley. So I'd be like, hey, we need to get this shock on your Softail. I know it's only one shock, but we're going to make this thing work right, you know?
Well, you know, and you attract certain customers that way. You know, and I try, like, if you're a customer, you come into me and you got a breakout or whatever, you know, I'm going to listen to what you want. That's my job.
Yeah.
You know, my job is to make sure whatever you want, I can get your ideas on your bike, you know, in a manner that makes sense and is going to work. That's my job. I'm the professional, right? So you come in, you don't know these part books inside and out. You don't know what's possible with your bike. You don't know what parts are the best for your bike. You know, your buddy might have told you.
Yeah, you might have saw it on a Facebook forum
or
for a while.
some Facebook forum and whatever. But, you know, I've got real world experience. I've been doing this forever. You know, so my job, the way I look at it is, even though I love, you know, my heart and soul is in FXRs. I love FXRs, right? But if you come in here and you got a big dog chopper, you know, and now big dog choppers are probably like, in my opinion, one of the worst motorcycles in the world. But you know what? You probably saved your money and you did whatever you had to do and that's your dream. fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make that thing the best I can for you. Like, that's the opinion I go into it with.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not listening to the customer because, like, if everybody just wanted the same shit I want, like, what fun is that? Like that, you know?
I guess, that's a good point to look at it. You know, like I said, it's so easy to get stuck in our thoughts and the way we want to do things. And like this, you know, sucks to say, as much as like Instagram is a great thing for us, it really is like easy to get trapped into like a very narrow like hallway of what you want to do and where you want to take your business, and not keep an open mind of all the business out there. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, at the end of the day, we're trying to feed our families, right?
Yeah.
Like, no, this is my passion. You know, for me, the FXR thing kind of saved me a little bit because I'd been in the motorcycle industry for quite a while. When I sold my bagger to keep my shop open, I had a customer who had my 85 RT. I didn't even really know what an FXR was. It was like Milla 07. I had already had to sell my bagger, and he sold me the bike on payments. And I was like, oh, cool, I can actually have a bike. And it wasn't, for me, it wasn't like, oh, this FXR is my dream bike. It was,
You just wanted a bike to have a bike.
I wanted any motorcycle because I own a motorcycle shop, and I did not own a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So I really lucked out. You know, the old man, the guy upstairs was really looking out for me on that one. You know, but for me, the FXR thing kind of saved it because you can get burned out.
So you're basically saying, like, back in 07, after the bubble bursted and it kind of put your shop in turmoil, the FXR, the opportunity to get FXR was what kind of like reinvigorated.
It drove me. Like, I now had my own bike to focus on and work on. And, you know, of course, what I do, I sold my saddlebags, I sold the tour pack, I sold the lower fairings. I took the mids off, I threw forward controls on it, I lowered it, I put nitrous, like all the retarded things.
You're building a hamster bike, is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, you know what? Hey, we'll get to the hamsters later. Those guys are badass. But no, I was like, because at the time, my idea of a fun ride was blasting to LA.
Yeah.
You know, and that bike did that really, really well. You know, and over time I was like, no, I want these bags back. Oh yeah, no, I want mids. You know, I want all the stuff that I already sold back on my bike. You know, but having that passion for a certain kind of bike really kept me going because it's easy to get burned out, right?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I hear you're like, another paint job, you know, my creative, you know, I'm not really feeling it, you know. And when you do something when you love, like, it's easy to get burned out. If you eat steak and lobster every night,
Yeah.
sometimes you're gonna be like, fuck steak and lobster, right?
Exactly.
You know, so, but for me, the FXR thing really lit a fire under my ass, you know. Just for me personally, I never saw the FXR thing as what it's turned into. You know, I just liked it because it was a badass bike and nobody else had it. And I'd go to Harley and the sales guy was like, oh, what kind of Honda is that? You know? And, you know, I'd take it to bike shows. I got a plaque actually out in the van. I'll never forget. We went up to a bike show up at Black Oak. It was 2009. And I had my FXR and I thought I was killing it, you know, because of my own mind, right? We're all rock stars in our own mind, you know. And I showed up and, like, I'm looking around and Paul's got this badass baby blue bike with all this engraving on it. And, you know, like, there's really wild baggers there. And I just wasn't into baggers anymore. I was like, I got this show on lock. Like, you know, I'm so unique. But, like, nobody even looked at my shit. It was crazy.
Well, it's super weird how, like, you know, when the industry is, like, pro baggers, or, like, when the bagger thing kind of really took off, like, for the rest of the country, you know, I always say, like, I remember Paul Yaffe, the first big wheel bagger was this Chupacabra bike. It was like a flat brown. It was a beautiful bike. I remember I had a vendor space right next to him at Rock Rally in Texas. This was the first big wheel bagger on the scene, right? And I was in love with it. And it was a road glide. And back in the day, pre 2009, road glides were the ugliest fucking Harleys there was.
Absolutely.
And then when you put that big wheel under it, it made a road glide. It basically made the road glide the most popular of the touring models, right? In my opinion.
I don't know Harley sales numbers without a doubt, but I can tell you
just on the street,
NorCal, you can't find a road glide for sale. And when I have one for sale, I got it for 24 hours.
So you think with a street glide and an ultra and electric glide, you had basically 3 different models. I think the street glide replaced the electric glide, right?
Yes, I think so.
So you had all these models, and you had this Batwing fairing that's just been kind of pounded into the market for so long, and then the road glide's there as well, but it just didn't have the stick, it didn't have the look with that little bitty ass wheel in the front.
Yeah, no.
And then it just kind of blew up, and it's funny how it really overshadowed the chopper scene. You know what I mean? It really did.
Of course it overshadowed it, because what do we all have in common, right? Mm-hmm. We want to ride motorcycles. So the chopper thing, we're always going with this thing of, as customizers, we want to display our artwork. It's our art. Mm-hmm. But the vast majority of customers to ride their bikes. They might put some chrome hand controls and some handlebars and this and that. They're not taking it to the levels like we do or people in the industry do. But so you got these choppers, people were buying them thinking they were going to ride them, and they were fucking horrible.
I think that's the misleading thing about what ultimately killed that. Mind you, we're talking about TV choppers, not like vintage choppers.
No, absolutely.
So I think that's what killed that. And I think that's what's been happening to the big wheel bagger scene, is that you get these people that, like you said before, that guy with the big dog, he's just been that's been his goal since he saw it. He finally got it. Now the scene's dead, but he's been wanting it, and he's sticking to his guns. It's the same thing that's happening right now with big wheel baggers. There's a lot of people that are finally getting to the point where they can get what they want. But that guy that just saved up for the last 5 years to afford it, now he's got it, and now he's got a bigger pile of shit now, because not I don't want to say it in a bad way, but it doesn't ride good. He can't enjoy it. Every time he jumps on his bike and goes to a bike night, something's shorting out. The air rod's blowing. His front wheel won't hold air in the tire. Just so many problems that really kill the joy of riding a motorcycle that happen to these big wheel baggers. And I think what happens is it puts a bad spin on it. And I think now, like I said, all these people built these bikes that they're completely rideable. I've ridden my big wheel bagger here plenty of times, but
rideable and enjoyable are two different things.
They
just are.
Yeah.
At some point, the novelty of being the biggest dick with the biggest wheel, or the fattest tire, or the flashiest paint job, at some point that's okay, cool, that's right on. But now I want to go ride to the mountains with my boys. You
know what I think is the most popular thing about the motorcycle scene now? And I'm probably stepping way over my boundaries, but I think what's cool right now to a big group of people is the people that are riding bikes. I think
hands down.
I think that's what's cool. It's the guy that's really into bikes. It's the guy that rode his bike there, or the guy that's trying, I think right now more people are inspired by people instead of bikes, No,
I think that's the way it should be. I mean, you know what? Me and you, we're not going to like the same kind of bike. Mm-hmm. Or we're going to have a different, even if, you're an FXR guy, I love FXRs. We're going to go at it 2 different ways. But that's what's awesome about bikes. But you know what? At the end of the day, if you want to ride a fat bagger, or you want to ride a whatever, I'm down. Let's go ride. Let's have a great time. Because you know what? You love motorcycles, and you're probably a cool ass dude.
You know what's super funny? Because ever since I saw your red bike, I've been so I've said it on this podcast. I want to build a bike that's just clean and meticulous. But the whole ride up here, you can ask my wife. I've been quiet, and I've been in my thoughts the whole time, and I'm thinking about this T-Sport that I'm working on, and my goal is to just be simple and clean with it. But I'm realizing that that's just not me. That's not my style of building bikes, and not that I don't love yours, but it's. I feel like I'm almost cutting myself short trying to build a bike the way you did yours.
Well, you are.
Yeah.
You are cutting yourself short. Are you kidding me? I built my bike to showcase what I do.
Yeah.
I built that red bike on purpose so that if somebody who doesn't know what they're looking at will walk right by it. You know, it's got basically a stock paint job on it. You know, yeah, there's chrome and this and that. But if you're not like,
if you don't
know what you're looking at, it's probably just another bike.
Yeah.
You know, but that's what I do because that's my skill set. You know, but.
So what I think my job now is, because of that, because I came to this epiphany, I guess is the right word for it, is that my job is how do I take influence from what you did and something that I'm really inspired by, and how do I like add it to my style and change my shit, not change it to yours, but change it to where
we're always evolving, right?
Yeah. So I need to evolve my style into something more clean and classy, but not stock, basically.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, it's you're a custom painter, right? In my opinion,
I get by.
You get by, but like you're never as good as you can be.
Never.
Hopefully 5 years from now, the guy you're looking back, you're like, whoa, I fucking sucked.
Oh, every year I do that. Yeah.
You know, like that's our goal. You know, and for me, I just want to be the best at what I do for me. That doesn't mean I'm trying to be better than Paul Dan Mantica or Gearheads or Double D in Lodi or anywhere across the nation.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be better than I was last year, you know, at what I do and what I like, you know. But the motorcycle industry is so badass because we all have a different version of that. That, in my opinion. Yeah. You know, and you're right. You said earlier it's about the people. Like, it is totally about the people.
I guess you could, this is probably stupid, I'm going to say it anyway. It's kind of like, just like Mexican food restaurants. There's 1,000 different ways of cooking the same food, but so like one day you're like, man, I really like, you know, this place over this place or that or the blah, blah, blah. It's kind of like motorcycle. We're all selling the same thing, like you said earlier, but just different flavors.
Well, no, without a doubt. But I think the real challenge becomes, and I was going through this a couple years ago where I had done my FXRT. I've redone that bike. I don't even know how many times. It's been a lot.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes it's, you know, you don't have money.
That's what I'm looking at with this.
And if you don't come out with something kind of new and a little bit more relevant, you know, this and that, you know, you're going to, you know, that's our job, right?
Yeah.
To stay relevant. So I throw a new paint job on it and kind of redo some things. But I was like, I built my dream bike. Like, this is it. Like, I'm not, like, there's nothing else I can do. And worse than that, I was like, if I built another one, I'd build this exact same bike.
I'm in the same boat with the Gold FXR. Like, that was my dream bike. It really was. Like, and it was a short found dream. Like, I found it very soon. It wasn't something I thought about for years and years and years. But when I switched over to the Dyna scene in 2016, you know, meeting guys like FXR Mike is what kind of put me on the FXR. Like, I started looking at FXRs. Like, I knew of an FXR, but I couldn't have told you it was the one with the triangle side cover.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You know? But, yeah, so I started thinking, I started looking, and, you know, I really love that Unknown bike, that gold one. It just was sick. And
without a doubt.
And I've had gold paint jobs on my bikes before, and I was like, man, like, I want to build this bike, and the only color I can see it being is gold. Like, I'm fucked. Right? Yeah, there's only one other famous gold FXR out there.
Yeah, right?
But I was like, man, so now the challenge is how do I make it look different, but still build it for me? Because, you know, if I was a customer, I would just want to go buy that gold bike from Nick.
You know, I really think it boils down to this. In my opinion, you're going at it with the wrong mentality. In my opinion, you're going at with it. What would the customer like?
Yeah.
This and that. You know what the customer's gonna like? He's gonna like what you like. So for me, I just do things that I like. And if there's gonna be a group of people that love it, and then a group of people who probably think it's stupid, but I like it, so that's what's cool to me.
Do you feel like it gets kind of annoying where you feel like, you know, like you said, like how you just painted that picture is exactly the way I think that I look at it a lot. But, you know, it's like everybody wants every individual shop to be some innovative design trendsetter type person.
God, yeah.
But realistically, it's like, you know, I'm looking at, you know, now that I'm building this T-Sport, like I'm looking at T-Sports. I'm seeing what's kind of popular, not just to see what's popular, but see what I am seeing that I like, you know? And there's a dude up here in this part of town, or up in NorCal, I can't remember his Instagram name, but he has this sweet-ass carbon fibered out bike. Dude, I hate that I can't reference this bike, but it's super badass, but it's all black and carbon fiber, which is something I fucking love, but because I paint for a living, there's no way I can get away with doing that.
You know, you should definitely showcase your talents, without a doubt. But I'm sure there's paint jobs that really inspire you, right?
Oh yeah, I mean yours did, and it was a stock.
Yeah, well, that's really where I'm leaning towards right now. Is I'm really wrestling with, the next bike I'm doing. I just picked up an 82 shovel. Mm-hmm. It's an FXR. And part of me is like, well, is it sacrilege to start ripping this bike apart and blah blah blah? And then I'm like, you know what? No, it's not. It's not. I'm going to build the best FXR I know how to build with a shovel engine, just because I haven't done it before, and I think it's going to be badass.
I agree.
And it's got original paint. I'm going to have the original paint re-cleared, the chips fixed. And it's going to have a stock paint job, because I'm not a painter.
And that's a good market. I think that's a good way to do it, but it's really just insinuate, like really just showcasing the beauty of what those bikes used to like. I feel like those paint jobs from the 80s and the early 90s
should not be painted over.
Are so nice. Like those graphics and the flow, it just like, yeah, Harley has a new style and some of the CVO paint jobs are really wicked, but they're just not the same.
Wait. 30 years from now, they'll probably be badass. We'll be the old guys.
Yeah.
Going, oh, that's nothing special. And the 35-year-olds up there will be like, oh, check out this 2017 Road Glide. It's badass. Or at least I hope so. Hopefully we're all still riding motorcycles.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, it was 2007, 2008. The bubble hit. You got your FXR. You went full Pro Street Chopper on it.
Pretty much. Pro Street Chopper, that's what exactly, you hit the nail on the head. So I just kept running my business. I kept showing up to work every day. Mm-hmm. We opened at 9, we closed at 6 back then. I was open 6 days a week, which was not good for family life. Yeah.
But do you feel like that was necessary for it to?
No, absolutely not. It was not necessary. Mm. It was our instincts as business owners, in my opinion, to think the more time, the more effort we put in. Not necessarily effort. That's the wrong word, but I have to be open 6 days a week because otherwise, how am I going to pay these bills? Well, what the point of having your business if you don't have time with your family or time off to enjoy it? We're sitting in the Masonic Lodge right now. Mm-hmm. I became a Mason in 2006 and, started getting real involved with that. And part of when you become a Mason is you try and go to funerals, whether you knew the guy or not, to pay your respects and just be there as, to show that, hey, look, this means something to us. Mm-hmm. And I started going to these funerals to guys I didn't even know. And I started, you sit in a funeral, you listen to their life story, and you're like, oh, wait a second. That sounds a lot like my life. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden you go, wait a second, I'm going to die someday? At some point...
Immortality kicked in.
You're not just a kid in your 20s, you just start growing up a little bit and you go, whoa, hold on. I'm not going to live forever, And you know what? Burning the midnight oil in that shop I wasn't rich from it, right? I was just still barely paying the bills. So I decided, I'm closing Sundays and Mondays, and if I can't get it done in 5 days a week, maybe I should go clock in somewhere. Mm-hmm. And man, that's been the best thing for my life ever. Because this industry, I think any business will eat you up if you let it. Yeah. Right? I mean... I'm sure.
I feel like I'm in a hard point in my personal life because I don't know how to check out. Like I'm 100. Like I'm
never gonna check out. Yeah, I never check out.
Yeah, and I feel like it sucks because when you're trying to spend time with your kids or your wife sitting here, it's like you're still like in the back of your head. You're still stuck in like, okay, what's like business. Like not so much that I'm thinking about business, but like the trip out here, I'm thinking about this bike build. Like, how am I going to make it cool? Like, how am I going to stay relevant? Like you said, like how do I don't think I can top the gold bike this year. It's not really in the cards for me. So it's like, I need to build something that's still cool So, you know, it's just hard to check out. And it's like, sometimes I feel like I don't want to. Like, I feel like it gives me purpose. You know what I mean?
No. That's what makes, I think that's what makes us a little different, right? Is there's a million people who've tried to become custom painters, right? And out of that group of people who became custom painters, how many are still doing it? You know what I mean? You have to have the perseverance to keep going.
Yeah.
And my wife Janine, when we first got together, I told her, "Hey, I'm into motorcycles." She's like, "Yeah, no shit, you own a motorcycle shop." I said, "No, I don't think you quite understand. Like, when I go to bed at night, I'm thinking about motorcycles. When I wake up in the morning, I'm thinking about motorcycles. All I want to talk to you is about motorcycles.
Yeah.
You know, that's going to get old." And she goes, no, I get it.
Yeah.
You know, and then a few years later, she's like, "You weren't fucking kidding." That's all you think about. But it is all I think about. But there's a difference between always having that mental process going on and being at work. That's two different things, right?
Yeah.
You can go to the lake with the family, have a good time, and you're there, you're present, you're having a good time. Yeah, you're probably thinking about that Dyna and what kind of wheels and how you're going to route the brake lines, and all these different things are going through your brain. That doesn't mean you're not there with your family having a good time.
Yeah, it's just...
At least in my opinion.
Yeah.
Hopefully my wife doesn't have a different idea, but, you know.
It's just strange, you know, it's just a strange deal. Like, you know, last year on our anniversary, which was basically now, I was doing the gold bike. I was balls deep into finishing it, getting it ready, because the goal was we were going to ride it to Born Free. Was going to be the
crowning achievement.
Yeah.
All of our crowning achievements.
So,
right?
mind you, yeah. Well, you can go.
Hold on one second.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. So here's the card to get back in. No, you're fine. In that hallway, just go out that door to your right to the bathroom right there.
Yeah, so like last year, you know, we started off the. First off, I got a DWI like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago actually. On our honeymoon, the day before our honeymoon, I got a DWI that night, and so last year I had to do there was a week. I said, okay, this week is just for me to do my FXR, right? Well, I had to do a DWI education class, so I had 3 days of the week I had to go to a class at 5 to 9. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I can just work on my gold bike during the day, and then at the end of the week was our anniversary, and we usually lump her birthday and our anniversary the same thing because they're only 5 days apart.
Yeah.
So it came Thursday, and all I had done was I had laid out some colors on the fairing and the lowers, and I kept looking at it, and I wasn't jazzed about it. We left to go on our trip, and the whole time I was there, never checked out. I was just constantly looking at the pictures I took of the thing before I left, and we left Thursday, and all I could do was wait to get back Sunday so I could sand it off, reflake it, re-clear it, and start over Monday. So I lost a whole week. And I was just like bummed out about it. I was stressed out about it, and I didn't, you know, like I feel like it ruined our first year's anniversary and stuff because I wasn't there.
No,
well,
all of that was self-imposed.
Yeah, totally.
Like it was all self-imposed. It was some bullshit you made up in your own brain.
It was, you know,
we all do that.
I was stressed because, you know, and I said this before, but I was stressed because I feel like I don't get as many opportunities as I feel like some people that I see get, right? But I get amazing opportunities, don't get me wrong. Like I see some people that get invited to hot bike tours and they don't even make an event. They don't even make it like a point to be there, right? And I'm sitting here begging like, dude, just give me a reason to build a bike and I'm going to fucking go crazy on it.
Amen.
So, you know, I see opportunities like that and I see big companies working with people that don't make them priority. And here I am just begging for an opportunity like that. And so when I built that bike, I had guys like Paul from Lindahl. I had my buddy Mark from Texas Performance. A lot of people gave me a lot to build that bike. And so I felt like I wasn't letting just myself down. I was letting all the people that invested in me to build a sick ass bike and show them what I can do. So that added stress, just like, you know, it was tough. But the finished product, that bike changed my life. Just like you said,
killed it.
You know, that bike changed my life. Just like you said, that one that you had changed your life. It really did. it was hell to get there, but it was a hell that I'll go through every year of my life to have that same reward.
Absolutely, but you also got to keep some things in perspective as like these deadlines we put on ourselves.
True,
like,
yeah.
You know, these things that we, you know, because 50 years from now, like hopefully you're sitting next to your wife, and that's what matters.
Yeah,
you know
true.
what I mean? Like
yeah.
in my opinion, like, you know, I really have to try and keep that in perspective because my instinct is to go 1,000% all the time towards this motorcycle thing. You know what I mean? Like, and I impose these deadlines in my brain, and I'm all stressed out about it. And whether it's my own personal projects or a customer's personal project or whatever I got going on,
Yeah.
you know, I'm either stressed out because we're so damn busy I can't keep up, or I'm stressed out because I'm wondering where the money's coming from. And it's really taken me a little bit of age to kind of bring that down to a level where I'm like, you know what? What's important is my family, you know? Because as much as I love these bikes and all that, fuck, I'll throw them all in the ocean tomorrow to keep my wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just really would. Like, that's in my opinion, that's what's really important. Because as great as the guys at Lindahl are and as great as all those people are, like, your wife's you know what I mean? Like, that's got to be your number one.
Yeah, totally.
You know, but and you were talking about opportunities earlier. Like, I got a free pair of shocks from Legend, which was amazing. And Legend shocks are the shit. You should run them. They're great.
Yeah.
But I've never had nobody really hook me up. But like, I've heard Lindahl does that for people, and that's awesome. But like 40 years from now, you're going to be sitting next to your wife.
Yeah.
That's what's important. Like, these deadlines, like, do your best to make them, but fuck, we kill ourselves. Like, well,
I think for me, the reason why I put so much emphasis, you know, and like I said, I'm not going against what you're saying.
No, absolutely.
Is.
No, but it's hard.
It's hard. It's hard, like I said, to, you know, because the competition level in our world now is sometimes you only get one shot to do things.
Amen.
You know, and so,
Amen.
You know, like I think about, you know, I use the hot bike tour a lot. A hot bike tour is not like something that if you get invited on, like your shop's going to be catapulted into this amazing thing. Like, it's just, like I said, sometimes you need a reason or a purpose to build a bike, and those kind of shows, like going back to the shows, gives you the purpose. So the hot bike tour, to me, it's like last year, you know, it's right after Sturgis. Sturgis is like an every year thing for me. So it's like, fuck, I can't really afford to take another week off of work and go ride a bike all over the place. But, you know, when Holt, you know, he made this deal where, you know, everybody from the South was meeting up with Royalty Racing at either there in New Orleans or like in Mississippi. And so I was like, fuck, I'll meet everybody up in Mississippi. You know how many people came from the South? Me.
Really?
Of all the shops that were supposed to be on the tour, I was the only one that showed up, rode the entire event, camped, did it all by myself, was at every event, did all the rides every day, you know, and it's like, that's what the show is about building a bike and riding it and doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that nobody else rode their bike down there, but it was one of those deals. Like, I did that. I showed up, I did it, and Jeff still was like, you know, if you support it, you're a builder next year. Fuck yeah, I can't wait. I bought a bagger. I had another FXR. I got a Dyna. I have all these options. Like, which one do you want me to build? Which one, dude? You want a bagger? I'll build a sick bagger for you. You want a Dyna? You want an FXR? And then he fucking quits.
Well, he didn't quit.
Or whatever happened. It's like, so I hit up Jordan. I was like, hey, dude, y'all still doing the hot bike tour? Because I thought that thing was a really fucking fun thing that either they need to do or somebody else needs to keep doing something like it. And it just sucks because, like, I thought I had an opportunity to really build something with an actual purpose other than just for myself.
No,
you know?
Absolutely. But what's the goal behind all that?
I just want to show people, you know, I guess the thing is, like, why do we, other than paying our bills, like, why the fuck, what's the next motivation to do anything more than an oil change on a bike? You want to, there's this.
No, you do it because that's your creative outlet. Yeah. But what I'm coming to realize is, like, doing these shows, doing all that, it's cool. And without that FXR show and Holt picking that red bike,
yeah,
you know, and a few other things, like, it's got me a tremendous amount coming through the shop. you know, and that's all wonderful, and I love it, and it's great. But I tell you, if it wasn't for any of that, I'd still build the same bike. Like, I love that fucking bike for me, you know. And I think if you go into it with that mindset of like, hey, build that bike for you, and if it gets Hot Bike's attention or whatever, that's great. Yeah. Like, I think in the beginning, like, I couldn't wait till I got my first bike in Easy Rider. Then I got it in Easy Rider. And guess what? I had to show up to work the next day and fix primary leaks and everything else. Like, then, Hot Bike happened and all these great things have happened, you know. But I really think what it boils down to is I've decided I'm doing this stuff for myself. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to go show it. I'm going to go to these things. I'm going to go to the events and have a good time. Mm-hmm. And like, I think you brought it up about the bike show mentality is like it breeds jealousy, right? Mm-hmm. You know, like, because that guy won and you didn't. And
why did that dude get picked?
But the judge has to pick somebody, right? And let's face it, like you go to Easy Rider or we're at whatever show, there's a million badass bikes there. There really are, right? You know, like, and fuck, if you win, that's cool as fuck. But I think in the end, like, you got to build that bike for you. Yeah. Fuck those judges. Fuck the magazines. Fuck it all. You build it for you, and because you do that,
are you allowed to cuss in the Masonic Lodge?
Well, yeah.
No, but it's
this isn't the Sistine Chapel.
Okay.
You know, but you do it for you, right?
Yeah.
Like, you do it because this is what you're passionate about, and thank God we're able to make a living by it. Like, how many people, really, like, let's think about this. Like, how many people would die to be in your situation?
Oh, yeah, I think about that all the time.
Like, I think about that, like, I just bought my 6th FXR. Mm-hmm. Like, and I don't buy these things to sell them. Yeah. You know, I buy them because I love them. And there was a time in my life that buying a bike was like impossible. So now that I can, I'm like, fuck it, I want another one. I got to have another bike to build.
I think that's what getting into the FXRs has slowly started to change my mentality on why I do things on motorcycles. Because just this trip alone, this trip to where we're sitting now, you know, I told my wife, I was like, you know what, I don't think I'm going to go to Sturgis this year. I think this year, instead of going to Sturgis, I want to do the same route I just did on this Dyna. You know, and Sturgis, what's Sturgis? It's fun. There's a lot of fucking amazing things to do, but mainly it's FXR show. It's Baddest Bagger. It's the Pearwitz Paint Show. It's all these things that I need to go to show and be seen in, you know, there. But then when I was starting to think about it, I was like, man, you know, like, maybe this is a bad thing, and I'm totally okay with that. But, you know, this trip has been awesome with her on here, but I really want to experience it on a motorcycle. These roads have been fucking phenomenal.
Oh, no, we are so spoiled here.
Not even here, just from Durango to here. Hell, from Taos, New Mexico to here has been nothing but scenery and curves and places I want to stop and take a picture with my bike and all this cool shit. Salt Lake City looked cool, all these different things. And I was like, you know what, I'd rather probably just do that trip and document it all on social media. And I'd rather show the X amount of people that have chosen to follow what we do that experience than the same thing they're going to see from everybody at Sturgis next year.
No, you know.
This year, I mean.
I really think it, you know, I've heard you say in this podcast that you're one guy, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, me and my brother.
Well, you and your brother, you know, but the level of artwork, the level of stuff you do, you can't just go hire somebody to do it. Mm-hmm. There's only so much business Jace can do.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with that because you structure your prices accordingly and you do what you can do and you live your life and you have a great time doing it. But I think we get caught in this cycle of like, I got to drive business. I got to drive business. I got to be at the FXR show. I got to be here. I got to be there. To drive business that you already have that you can't even keep up with right now.
And that's another huge reason why I think I'm gonna skip it is because, when doing this work, it's like that a bike trip, or even this trip right here is a refreshing restart, so that when I come back to, like for instance, I have 20 Simpson helmets to paint. Stupid good money to paint them from great people all over the country. Now that's 20 helmets that need to be different, but the same, but different.
How blessed are you?
Exactly. I'm fucking phenomenal.
How blessed are you? That's fucking nice. That's like the home run.
It is.
That's
now,
the home run, because you're not painting a huge fucking canvas. Now I can't imagine trying to come up with 20 different ideas.
That's the problem. It's
can't
like
imagine that shit.
You have to, and I'm learning, and I'm so fortunate that the customers that did these helmets with me on this run are patient with me, because I want every helmet that I do to have to stand on its own, fuck, that's sick, like everybody likes it, right? And then, but the other aspect to it is if I try to do more than 2 of them a week, even if I can do 2 a week, I'm not getting, I feel like I need to restart between those 2. That way that they can, they can be different. People are paying for something custom that's one-off, and I want it to be as one-off as possible, So I need these trips. I need this to refuel and reimagine and rethink.
Amen. What information do you get from a customer when, say,
Dude, I'm an asshole. I'm such an asshole now. It's like, I hate it, and I apologize to anybody, but dude, I got 20 helmets. It's just like I was telling you on the way over here. It's like, can I airbrush? Yes. Am I the best in the scene? Fuck no. Ryan Townsend blows me out of the water. But when I can focus, like if I can, the way I do my helmets is I do a design and then I add airbrush to it. Like it's not a full airbrush helmet.
Yeah.
So I've had people, hey man, I want to do a full airbrush helmet. I was like, man, let me refer you to Ryan or somebody else. It's like, that's their thing. My thing is designs, graphics, that a little bit of airbrush, a little bit of pinstripe, a little bit of everything. That's the helmet you get from me. If you want something different, I know some badass helmet painters, and that's what I've been doing. I've been, hey man, check this guy. He's more along the lines of what you want. And it's lazy on my part, because instead I should be taking those challenging projects to do it, but for the money that I'm getting to paint helmets, I'm really kind of capped out.
Yeah, nobody's gonna keep paying like crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't keep going higher. Like you're not getting paid $5,000 to paint a helmet, but if I'm spending a week and a half doing a helmet, I need fucking $5,000 to paint it.
How crazy is that?
And I don't. Maybe it's me. I don't see value in that to a customer, so I don't want to offer that to a customer.
No, but what I meant was to help the creativity thing. Like,
yeah,
what are you into? Do you like the Ramones? Do you like, you know what I mean? Like, what's your, what's that thing that, like, what I do with bikes is, like, a guy comes in, and we talked about it a little bit earlier. If I'm building this customer's bike, and I'm picking all the stuff, I'm gonna keep turning out the same shit over and over, right?
Yeah.
So I really try and get as much information from my customer as like, hey, what do you like?
Well, you've probably heard my spiel about a helmet and how it could really, we don't always get to keep the bikes we build, right?
Yeah.
But we can do a badass helmet and keep the helmet and remember the times we had on that bike. So we've had some of them that they want to do memorial helmets, which is that there's the content. It's a memorial, easy. Like we just did one for Cody Childress and his brother. So there's that done. There needs to be no. Like I know your brother. We had a hard time trying to find a good picture of him. Because the problem is with my airbrushes, I got to have super super real high quality images to do as close as possible to the image. But then there's other people that get, and I love this part, is when people would hit me up like they got an idea. And I've heard some really good ones, man. Like pop culture is mainly the main thing that people like to do. And I think that's the coolest part is that, when I had my helmet with Samuel Jackson on it, it got so much attention.
Oh yeah, everybody saw that.
And it was like, yeah, I'm a Pulp Fiction fan, but the picture of him is just awesome looking,
Yeah.
So I don't like doing theme helmets where it's like every angle you see it.
I wonder if Samuel Jackson has seen that.
I wish. I'd love it. It'd be awesome.
Wouldn't it be crazy?
I would love to get it autographed.
Wouldn't it be crazy to have your picture on a helmet? Somewhere you're just that level of badass that people are painting pictures of you haven't even seen.
Yeah. So no, that's one thing I love about the helmets is that the pop culture aspect, just doing different. Like people hit me up with their ideas, and I have a couple secret ones I'm not letting anybody know so I can have content for myself. But yeah, man, that's what's cool and that's what's fun. Is it like how do I do a graphic scheme? Because that's what I require is some type of graphic scheme and color scheme, and how do I bring in the elements of like say. It's Pulp Fiction. I don't want it to be a Pulp Fiction helmet. So let's find something cool about it and maybe a cool saying or something like that. And it's been working out well.
Yeah,
you know?
you don't want to go to the theme.
Yeah,
theme
I don't want to
route.
fucking like 40 different airbrush scenes on a helmet. Then my thing is like everything has to look good in motion.
Yeah, you don't want to OCC it up.
Yeah, everything has to look good in motion. And the way I thought about doing this helmet, and mind you, if you talk to any of my friends, I hate painting helmets.
Really? Yeah. I would think that would be like.
Well, that's because back in the day when I was doing baggers, you
got to have my matching helmet.
It's my matching helmet, and so basically you'd get a X amount of dollar bagger paint job, and then right after you finish negotiating all the prices for everything, then they throw in the 3 fucking modular helmets on top of it that they want to match, and they think because they're spending money with you, well, hey man, throw these in. So it's always had a bad taste for doing helmets for me, and I just never liked it because helmets are a pain in the ass to paint. They're not like, it ain't like I could paint a saddlebag, a fucking full stretch saddlebag way easier because I don't have to worry about clean tape lines on the bottom, and that shit becomes a factor when you do a bad job.
I can imagine.
And helmets, you have a threshold that you can't go past. Like you can't paint a helmet twice. It'd be the material buildup gets so bad, it's just not good. So you kind of got one shot to do a helmet, you know what I mean? And it was a bad thing. And one of my good friends, he kept pushing me to do a Simpson helmet, and this was before I really embraced the panel world, but he was like, man, just do this. And then I finally just like put my thoughts into a helmet, and I was like, one thing when I paint a bike or I'd build a bike or anything, I sit and I look at it from all angles, and I imagine myself riding that bike. How do I look with my feet here? How do I look like this and that and the other? And the same thing with a helmet. I'm like, okay, so if someone sees this helmet from the side, how's it look? And if someone sees this and someone sees that, and I was like, man, I was looking at the Simpson, the Ghost Band, so it was like the only good flat area to paint, and it's really not that good to be honest with you, it's still real crowned, is the top for the airbrush, right?
Yeah.
I was like, well, how do you make that look cool when you're on a bike? And I started looking on through Instagram, and I was looking at everybody, how they're sitting their helmets on their bikes. I'm like, hang it on the dill, and then bam, you got a fucking picture or whatever right there.
Absolutely.
So I designed that helmet based on research of like how's it going to look when you're riding it? What's going to be cool about it sitting still, and this, that, and the other, just like I do any other paint job on a bike. And that's when I came up with that concept of doing it in that form. Graphics on the side, so when you're riding it, you see the graphics.
Yeah.
Airbrush on the top, so when you're chilling, you put it, even if you sit it on the seat or you sit on the handlebars, you're going to see the airbrush.
You're going to see that, absolutely.
So it's like, it's a lot of thought that went into it.
No, absolutely, without a doubt. No, without a doubt. I was just, my question was, to help with creative process, like, do customers tell you like, hey, I want this, or?
They do. They give us a lot of like insight, and sometimes I have to bring them back down to the level that we're doing them at. Cause like I said, man, there's 1,000 badass painters out there, and I think with, like we said, now that we're not selling to like just our local market, we're selling to the nationwide level.
That's so awesome.
That now it's like, well, I can't paint every helmet. I can't even paint a quarter of every helmet. I can't even paint 1% of every helmet. So send them to somebody.
So how awesome is that, though, that you have that kind of demand for your product that you can schedule, and you're like, okay, I need to make X amount of dollars this month.
Well, that's my goal. And now I didn't expect this much of it to blow up the way it has.
And it might only be for the next 3 months.
And I hope not.
Ride
because
that wave as far as you can ride it, right?
I hope not, because I'm structuring my next part of my life based on it. But, the goal is, yes, I want to get it down to where, I don't want to paint as many bikes because I want to, I feel like the helmet, when I'm painting a helmet, I can do everything I think about on that paint scheme in that helmet. And, cool. I'm not looking down the hall and seeing 14 more pieces that got to match it. This helmet, only this, as badass as I can do it. I can fill up every square inch of that helmet, and it looks good. On a bike, every square inch of the bike, it might look a little too mini trucky or whatever,
Yeah.
So, doing that, and then basically, like I said, I wanted to start building more bikes, which we have, but really start doing some real builds, and then focus on painting those bikes, but still having the helmet paint to basically keep us afloat.
Hey, whatever works, absolutely. Yeah. But, see, that's the thing that scares the living shit out of me is like,
it's saying no.
Would it be amazing to be like, you I'm not working, I'm not fixing your 88 Softail. I only work on this type of thing and all that. And
well, the scary thing for painters is check out this. Most paint with motorcycles is custom, right? So I can't just go to Service King and hire a painter.
No.
Right? I need someone that has an idea of custom, that has a lot of different factors, right? So building yes, I have enough work to where I could hire more people and hire this and hire that. But let's be honest, working with artists sucks.
No, I can't imagine.
I can't imagine the people that work with me. So the last thing I want to do is work with someone else when I know they're bullshit. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's really hard to like that part gets hard. And that's why I kept looking at like, how do I capitalize off our exposure and what we're building? And it's like, I just don't see it as being a paint shop. I feel like by bringing more artists in or bringing more painters in, I'm only bringing in more headaches.
No, there's a level to that, but absolutely, you've worked so hard to get to where you're at. Like, well,
think about this. Like Chip Foose worked real hard to get where he's at, but don't you think some of the other things that came from the hard work that doesn't really require him to be sitting there?
No, hey, amen. Yes, no.
His name built other areas of income for him, and so that's kind of the only.
No, but at some point you can only do so many things yourself.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of what we're getting.
So if Fast Life Garage is going to be now a repair shop,
I just want it to be. I want it to be a boutique.
Amen. Don't we all? Don't we all?
I don't know. I just want to. I want to capitalize off of a lot of things, but
Well, no. I can't remember who said it. It was one of these. The back in the Monster Garage. And the biker build off thing. And one of these guys said, I think it was an Asian guy who worked. He didn't have a lift. He only worked on the ground. He says, I don't remember his name.
Chica.
And maybe it was Chica, and I might have it totally
I just watched
wrong.
it all over again, so it was Chica.
So, and one of them says, you know what? I opened my shop in the most expensive place I can possibly, and I might only have 500 square feet, but my clientele's the right clientele. Mm-hmm. Like, that would be badass.
Yeah,
unfortunately, I'm from Stockton.
Where the Walking Dead takes place every day.
Amen. No, The Walking Dead does take place every day, and if you got $5,000 in fives, I'm your man.
No, there's a lot, man. Like, I guess that's it's also great is that there are many opportunities because of the internet, because of social media, because of a lot of things. It's hard for me to look at, like, if I was building this business when you started your business, then I would be probably only looking at, like, not to say anything bad, but I would only be looking at my area. Like, how can I capitalize off this area? But now I'm looking at it like, how do I capitalize off the national level of exposure that we have, which, trust me, we're not some huge social media conglomerate.
But at the same time, you have traction. Mm-hmm. And that's something I'm trying to figure out now is like, okay, we've got a little bit of traction going. Like, things are going good. We're getting all this wonderful exposure and all that. But how do I translate that into something that's going to last? I mean, I'm thankful for my 15 minutes. Like,
yeah.
I'll take it, and if this is all I ever get, I'll be thankful, and, my grandkids can be like, oh, yeah, Grandpa used to build some badass bikes.
Yeah.
And that's cool as fuck, But, like, I've been thinking, like, do I start a parts line? Do I do this? I don't want to be just some other dude making another set of fucking foot pegs.
Well, that's the hard part about it is, like, you really got to, and same thing with me. I've had so many people, even manufacturers, reach out to me and say, man, you really should do a hard line of something. And I'm like, that sounds really good, but there's so many pegs out there. There's so many bars. There's so many exhausts. There's so many of these things out there that it's like, we're late to the game. Let's just be honest with you.
No, it's not only late to the game. It's, I want to do. If I'm charging you for something, I want to be professional at what I do, right? Like, a guy will come into the shop and say, hey, I've got a whatever year Suzuki, this and that, and it needs to be fixed. And I know damn well, I know how to read, and I can probably figure out how to fix that guy's bike. But is it fair for me to charge that guy $120 an hour to fix that guy's bike? Fuck no, it ain't. So I try and be a professional at what I do. And I'm not a professional parts manufacturer. I'm not a machinist. You know, I can run a shop pretty damn good. You know, I like to build my own bikes. You know, I love that shit. So I have a hard time being like, okay, let me make some phone calls to some XYZ manufacturer and, you know, have him really come up with a peg and put my name on it or grips or whatever the hell. You know, it
is tough. And then you're taking 100% of the responsibility of sink or swim, you know what I mean?
Oh no, yeah, absolutely.
You could, I mean, yeah, that's the hard part about it, you know, now of course this is from what everybody's telling me is like the hard parts is like not everybody can, same thing that we're dealing with, same thing that I'm trying to understand right now is not everybody can afford our paint jobs and our helmets, and honestly, I can't do everybody's helmets and paint jobs in this, right? So no. So the people out there that really want to, you know, support our business, they, you know, same thing with you. I'm sure after people hear this and the people that don't already know, they want to support your business somehow. Maybe that's just coming to your bike night. Maybe that's all they can afford to do is give you some of their time. You know, so you want to give them, I don't know, like, I don't want to use them for just profit, but I mean, like, fuck, if you guys really dig what we're doing, like, and you want to do work with us and you can't quite afford for us to build you a bike, you can't quite afford a paint job, you know, would you want to, and right now we don't really sell a lot of parts, you know what I mean? We will eventually, but I feel like some people would want to have something that says Fast Life Garage. No, absolutely. Because they like the brand or what it stands for, you know.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I see and that is something like I need help with. You know, I need help. You know, I've had the same T-shirt design for 5 years. Like, I just keep making the same T-shirts. You know, I'm not a T-shirt designer. I don't, you know. I don't know, like, Photoshop. You know, I don't know all this stuff. Like, I definitely need to branch out and, like, build our brand a little bit more where, you know, we've got the cool shirts, the cool stickers.
It's hard,
hats,
you know.
But I'm not a fucking T-shirt company
exactly.
either. Like,
but you got to imagine, like, my shop, I grew up in the same town that Martin Brothers was in. Like, they were a place I used to ride my bicycle by when I was a kid. Well, not really then, but when I was a young adult, they were there. So I grew up next to Martin Brothers, and I got Gas Monkey Garage in my fucking town. So it's like, I got two, for the first 10 years of me working in motorcycles, especially when I started painting, was, hey, man, you know Joe Martin and them? I'm like, yeah, dude, I know them pretty well. Man, I love their flames. You know, it's like I always had to work. I always had to compete with the ghost of Joe Martin. You know what I mean? Okay. And then it's like you're driving around and you see that window sticker, Martin Brothers on the back. Everybody had that M on every fucking thing they ever did. I remember it. And, you know, and
so how great marketing is that?
It is. But, you know, who's to say, and I don't know their numbers, but who's to say Martin Brothers didn't make fucking rent one month on selling window stickers?
Who knows?
You know,
you're right.
Right now, Gas Monkey makes all their money on apparel. And you go anywhere in town, anywhere that's like motorcycle, car, or just not formal, and there's Gas Monkey shirts everywhere. Yeah, right? So it's like, you know, I don't necessarily want to build, like, Gas Monkey's cool to people that don't really know shit about cars, right? The people that are into it, they're like, man.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like OCC was. Yeah. Well, you know, everybody in the world who didn't ride a bike loved OCC. Yeah. And one of the first episodes that I watched, and they couldn't fucking figure out how to do wheel bearing spacers, so they just grabbed a different wheel. I was like, fuck this show. I'm not ever watching it again. This is lame. But it went on for years and years and years, and there was OCC stickers everywhere and all that kind of thing.
T-shirts everywhere and all that stuff. So, you know, there's that aspect where it's like, well, fuck, you know, like, am I cutting myself short by not creating T-shirts and creating stickers and creating all these things that people want? Or I'm not saying they want it, but just people would actually buy. You know, like I said, not everybody is, you know, you know, and I don't blame them. Like, fuck, man, paint's expensive. If I didn't do it for a living, I don't know if I'd do it at all.
Well, right? I mean, that's how I got into the motorcycle industry. Was I was like, you know what? I don't think I can afford to have somebody work on my bike. I better learn how to do this myself. Yeah. And next thing you know, 20 years later, here I am talking to you. You know, but no, if you're listening to this and you do T-shirts or some shit, hit me up because I need help.
Yeah, me as well. I need designers.
I need help. I need like to hire someone to make me look good.
Well, you know, there's another good. There's a dude, Carlos Sanchez, that's been making some sweet ass designs for people, and his style of creating like T-shirt logos and all that stuff is really badass. But now it's like everybody in the game has got his style of shirt. So I feel like if I do it, like it's pointless now. You know what I mean?
Well.
So, but no, there's all that cool stuff. So basically you did, the FXR kind of changed things for you.
So let's back up a little bit. So I moved shops like in 2008. I was over on Charter Way, was there for like 3 years. I thought, okay, rent was like half of what it was at my first spot, but it was still way too much, and then I moved to this tiny, like, I want to say it was 1,500 square feet, like super small shop over on Fremont Street by the water. I was there for, I think, 2 years. And then we came to the complex I'm in now. At first we shared a spot with one of my buddies. He had an auction company. We shared a spot there.
What year was this? What year was this when you moved over here?
I moved there probably 2010 or 11.
Okay.
I'm bad with dates.
It's all good.
I keep showing up for work and keep doing the same thing. So we were there for a few years, and then the landlord gave us an opportunity to be where we're at a reasonable rent, so I can actually like turn a profit. And then we started the bike sales thing, which is taking off like crazy. So things are really good. Things are going really the right direction. The motorcycle industry is so crazy, because we do something that people don't need, right?
Exactly.
Really at the end of the day, what are you going to pay your rent, your car bill, or fix your motorcycle? Now there are a few people who will say, fuck the car, I don't care, I need my bike, but the vast majority of our customer base are not that person, So it's kind of a scary industry to be in a little bit, because I always have that in my back of my mind, that shit we went through 10 years ago of, oh my God, like I hear the news and they're going to go to, they're talking about North Korea and I'm like, oh fuck, are we going to war with North Korea? Yeah. And I'm thinking, if we go to war with North Korea, are people going to quit spending money on their motorcycles?
Yeah.
So it's a scary business to be in. So as I move forward, I'm trying to insulate myself against stuff like that. I want to have my shop around when I'm 40. Yeah. Or in another 40 years. I'm just turning 40 this year. So when I'm 80, God willing, I'd like to wake up, throw on the clothes, have a cup of coffee, say hi to the wife, and head to the shop, because that's what I love to do. You know? My wife's always talking about winning the lottery, and I always think, I think we all have that conversation, right? And she's like, what would we do if we won the lottery? I said, well, we'd travel a little bit, and then you know what I'd do? I'd wake up and I'd go to my shop. Yeah. Because I love to be at my shop. Like, it's a creative outlet. Now I'd be a hell of a lot choosy on which bikes I fixed. Yeah. And I'd probably fix a whole lot of bikes for free just because I like to help people. Yeah. But, I found something that, like, this is what I do. This is, whether we win bike shows or we don't win bike shows or whatever, I love waking up and I love having a place to go to work, and the relationships, whether it's employees or customers, being in a capacity to make a change in people's lives. Like, part of what we do is fruitless. I mean, not fruitless, but like, it is a luxury. Nobody needs a crazy paint job on their bike. Nobody needs 150 horsepower. This is it's all frivolous. But you know what? The way I've chosen to look at it is, we don't know what's going on in that guy's life. This might be the one thing that he has that he's holding on to. You know what I mean? We all go through crazy shit. Our lives are full of bullshit from the time we are born till the time we die. We're always stressed out about something. But if I can brighten that guy's day up just a little bit, God damn it, I love that shit.
Yeah, especially when you get those customers, like you just said, where like that bike is everything to them. Like, it feels like more of an honor to do work for guys like that than it does, the frivolous ones that are just like, trying to big dick with their friends. And
absolutely. Well,
you want them. Don't get me wrong. I want those guys.
No, without a doubt. But that's one thing, for some of you guys around the country, Stockton's a little bit of a depressed area.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of manufacturing. We have a lot of agriculture, and most of the people who make decent money are driving to the Bay Area every day.
Mm-hmm.
But because of that, we get some real down-to-earth, real people, who, we don't have, at least in my shop, maybe because that's how I am. I'm not in there trying to be the big dick.
Yeah.
And most of my customers aren't either.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to say that's one blessed thing we have here in Stockton is most of the people out there riding bikes are in it because they love riding bikes.
Yeah.
They're in it because their buddies have bikes and they want to go up to Angels Camp or wherever and go tear it up and have a great time doing it.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually quite disappointed that I've been coming up here for so long. And when we came in on 88, Brian had told us about 88 was sick, and that's what made me like, fuck it, I'm riding here. And so we took that, I think it's 49 all the way to Sonora.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit. And then the guy that we stayed at his house last night, I'm like, what would it be like to live within them? Like, you leave your driveway and you're on a better road than anything in Texas.
Yeah, no. So, I listen to your guys' podcast and a lot of guys, Danger Dan, yourself, you're like, yeah, you got to go put on some crazy serious miles. It changes you. And I'm sure it does, When I first got my bike, I'd blast to Ensenada, Mexico, or wherever, and yeah, it's 750 miles or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that was a long deal for me. But I am so spoiled because I'll wake up in the morning, on a Monday morning.
Take the long way to work.
The wife has to work, and I'll be like, you know what? I got kids I got to pick up in the afternoon, but I can blast up to Jackson and then come back by Don Pedro, and there's these crazy windy roads. I'm gone for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I really think that's what affects our bikes up here is, I'm building these real high FXRs that'll lean over like crazy with crazy suspension and all that because I want to go up there and I want to see how fast I can get around that corner. I don't know, and maybe it's just because I haven't done it yet, and I'm gonna when the kids are a little older and I have a better opportunity, blast across the country. But my idea of a good time is me and a couple buddies, we racing up over Ebbets Pass, have lunch in Markleyville, and Ebbets Pass is seriously crazy. It's the best pass ever. It's like a one-lane road, nothing but switchbacks, and you got to be on your shit to ride that road. It's awesome.
And it's crazy because you have it within an hour and a half, and you're in it.
Amen. No, it's
a Sunday ride and home.
No, it is. It's crazy. We do that. We'll have lunch at Markleyville and come back Highway 88 because Highway 88's a lot. It's still a badass road, but it's not quite as technical as Ebbets Pass, and so we do that in one day. Mm-hmm. And
I guess that's when like you said, a lot of our podcasts we talk about doing some major miles and stuff, and it is kind of regional. It is, if everybody takes that with a grain of salt, that that's kind of the only enjoyment we kind of have on motorcycles is going somewhere far, because let's just say you stay right here in the Central Valley and you're ripping around Brentwood, Disco Bay, and here it's nothing but Delta and straight roads, and
it's kind of
you'll get burnt out real quick. But you start going up there, and I guess the other thing to talk about going long distance is just the excitement of traveling on a motorcycle, even if it's just for a day. And you're, like I said, I always say it's I enjoy the trips that I take that I don't have to be home that day. So that's a different experience.
Very true. Yeah. You're right. It's crazy different. Like I said, we're so spoiled in this area. We really are. At least I feel we are. And maybe it took a little bit of definitely broadening my horizons. In the last year, things have changed. I always thought, let me get out of here. Let me get out. Let me move here. Let me move there. And I never really appreciated what we have right here.
Yeah.
yeah, Stockton's kind of a shithole, but it's my shithole, and everybody I know is from Stockton, and
Yeah,
you know,
there's good people here.
There's great people here. You know, do I have to look at the zombies on Wilson Way? Yeah, I have to look at the zombies on Wilson Way. But that's part of the deal.
Yeah.
You know, but like, my wife's always talking like, what if we moved here? What if we moved there? And then I realized that not the rest of the country has this kind of riding. Mm-hmm. It just never dawned on me. I was like, there's got to be cool roads everywhere.
Yeah.
Then you start talking to people and they're like, oh yeah, no, I got to go 8 hours in a straight line before I get to anything twisty. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, holy shit. I think I'd get into I don't know that I'd be into motorcycles, you know?
Yeah, you definitely, you know, I think that people have always said this, but different areas, different regions, you know, their culture of motorcycles is different because of the style of riding that takes place there. So, you know, it sucks because like back home, especially when like the Dyna thing started getting popular, and especially for me as being someone that was kind of big-ish in the bagger industry, when they're looking at me like, why the fuck is this dude going to ride Dynas? And why is he looking at making them look like Sons of Anarchy bikes? Because that's all they understood.
Absolutely.
That style of bike. They didn't understand why those bikes look like that in the show. You know what I mean?
No,
so,
absolutely.
You know, yeah, like you put all that crazy suspension shit may not be as useful for a guy like me in Dallas, where you're telling a customer that was a $700 shirt. So you mean to tell me you spent a whole paycheck on that shirt?
Yeah,
like,
right?
Come on, dude. And then, you know, they'd come in and say, oh, we're short on money. I'm like, you just said that the homeboy gave you $150,000 to put in a bank account. How are we short? You know, so it all started adding up, and I tried to call him out on stealing money. And instead, you know, he tried to make it look like I was the guy losing money for the company.
Yeah, right.
Through my end of the business, right? And I proved myself right, because I had every job that I brought in, every paint job, every dollar I made this company from the moment they came in, I had it all documented. And of course, the other two guys were doing dick; they were doing nothing, right? Okay. But they just painted the picture like I was outside because I was the one pointing the finger at them, and you know what I mean. So I was like, you know what? You can have it all. 8 years of my life, I built a name, a business. I had lifts. I had a side of the highway. I had a fucking sign out front so you could see it coming through Dallas on the side of the fucking highway. Yeah. And I walked away from all that stuff. And I didn't get a dime for my shares. I didn't get shit. And I walked away, and people saw it online, you know, because Instagram had just came out, Facebook was going on, and people knew that I was the driving force behind this company. So people supported me all over the country. Hey, man, I'm going to fly you out to North Carolina. I painted the first 32-inch big wheel baggers, 2 of them. Okay. Out of the 5 that were done, that was unveiled at Cincinnati, I painted 2 of them. You know what I mean? It's not like some like thing I want to put on the wall, but it's like I did it. It says something,
but you know, I think that's what's different about guys who come into this industry to pimp it. Yeah. Okay. And guys who come into this industry to build something, I want to be around. You know, hopefully my kids are smart enough not to want to take my bike shop over because it's very stressful. Yeah. But hopefully that's an option. You know. Then you have the pimps. You have the guys who are going on Facebook trying to sell parts at $25 over cost. You have the guys who are, you know, they're short-termers.
They're industry vultures, and that's what they are.
They're short-termers because you know what? That's just not sustainable. It just isn't.
It's already.
I don't know what. I don't even know what happened. Is that shop even still around?
Well, yeah, it's a funny story. So I left in July of 2013. I sold the date like July 1st. Walked away. And I just changed my name to The Fast Life as a stint towards them. Like, you're Live Fast, well, I'm The Fast Life. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I didn't really pay much mind to it. I went, you know, like I said, I've been painting for so long that there was plenty of body shops. I went and took what work I had into a shop and got by. And like I said, once social media started picking up for us and we started going, I went to North Carolina, painted these bikes. That's when I met her. And then we come back here, and then the same thing. Like, the bikes that I painted in North Carolina got the attention of the guys up here in NorCal, and they said, hey, man, you know, Steve reached out to me and goes, hey, man, I got a customer, we're building a bike. And I still think to this day is the sickest bagger ever built out of NorCal. Fucking Cali for that. I'll go that far. So he's like, man, I want you to come do this bike. And then Steve was a good dude. He just lined me up with as much work as I could do up here while I was here.
Yeah.
You know, and so I came up here and we did that. And I started building, you know, what I was getting at was this, is that I was cheap then. I went to North Carolina and painted these 2 baggers. Actually, I did more than 2. I did 2 or 3 of them there for like $1,500. You know what I mean? Because that was what I was used to in Dallas. But then when I came up here and Steve's like, man, dude, I'll get you $3,000 for that. What's this $1,500 shit? Like, no, I'm gonna cash you out $3,000 on this bike, $3,000 on this bike. So he made me realize what I was worth outside of my town.
No, that's a hard thing to figure out, isn't it?
It is, because if I were to stay in Dallas, you probably would I'd still be chasing that solid color paint job for $1,500. I would still be doing the custom one for $25. You know,
not only that,
on a bagger, mind you.
It's hard to figure out what you're worth, because no matter how good you get at something, at some point it becomes easy, right?
Yeah, totally.
You know, like you've done 1,000 portraits.
Yeah.
That portrait might be like, yeah, I can do that.
The hardest part is finding a clean picture.
Exactly. Like, that's the hardest part. Like, where the rest of the 99 percentile of fucking people, you know, that's not easy.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, we pulled 1 million fucking primaries apart, you know, and we can fix it really easy. But that skill comes with a price.
Yeah.
It has to. Like, you put a lot of time. Not that I'm equating your portrait painting with fixing an inner primary.
No, it's
but
the same. Though.
What I mean is, like, I keep saying inner primary because it's killing me. I've got an inner primary bike inner primary leak on the Liberty bike, and all I can think about is I gotta fucking fix that. So, but what I'm getting at, you have to charge for your skills. You have to, like.
Well, see, now mind you this, like, and this is something I've learned, is that, okay, $1,500 to do all this work was there, and then I got $3,000, and then now, you know, I try to get more than that, obviously, but I look at what I can do now, my skill set, it's totally different now, you know,
absolutely.
Totally. But there does get to a point, like, I ain't gonna lie, there gets to a point where, like, when I do the jobs that are more than $10,000, I don't enjoy them. I don't enjoy.
I can't imagine the level of stress.
Because, man, $10,000 is a lot of fucking money, man.
Oh, it's an insane amount.
It's a lot of money, and don't get me wrong, it's a lot of fucking work to do a $10,000 paint job. But it's almost like those customers, you know, they're buying a Mercedes right now and not a Kia. So that customer service lounge has got to be dope. You got to do so much more for a $10,000 paint job than you got to do for a $9,500 paint job.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, you know, like we said before, I'm a one-man show when it comes to certain things in my shop. So being the liaison of my business to show you all this, you know, I don't have as much time to comfort you as I do to just get the job done and get it out.
There has to be a time, you know what I mean? Like, there has to be a balance to that. Like, life's about balance, you know, like, you know, where I'm just trying to imagine myself in your shoes, and obviously I've never been in a paint shop or anything.
Well,
but
just imagine, like, if you don't have your employees and you had to touch every bike that came in your store and do what you do now, which is in the front.
What I would do is I'd have to be like, okay, these 2 hours a day, you know, like, I'm only available during these 2 hours to talk to me. You know what I mean? Like, you want to talk to me?
I thought about doing that.
You know, like, hey, from 9 to 11 or whatever time works, you know, or 4 to 6 in the afternoon, whatever. You know, those are the hours that I'm available for customer service. But other than that, for me to succeed, I'm unavailable. You know, that's the only thing I can think of. I know for me, like, when I'm working on a project for myself, like, if I show up at 5 a.m., my 5 a.m. to 9 a.m., like, I get more done in those 4 hours than I can in 8 hours between 9 to 5.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very tough deal to be, because you got to be your customer service guy, right?
See, this is the one factor that a lot of people don't factor in, is that I might have associated that 5 to 9 to do the work, but my mind's like, no, motherfucker, we're thinking about other things right now. And so, like, you know, like I said, you're coming in to do artwork on a motorcycle.
Yeah, see, I can't
design
imagine.
work. And what you end up having a problem with is that, like, you have so much going on or so much just that you honestly cannot sit down and put your best foot forward. So you have to kind of, like, you don't want to waste your day. You don't want to just be sitting there twirling your thumbs until your mind's like, okay, I'm ready to do it now. So it's like, well, fuck, I'm gonna go weld, or I'm gonna go do this, or I'm gonna go run this errand across town. Maybe I'll listen to a podcast and get on that wavelength I need to be in to get back to the shop and do it. So sometimes you'll end up starting that job at 7 o'clock at night, and you don't want to stop because you've got that momentum going. So it gets really hard to get on like this schedule that everybody I know has that works well for them. But for me, it's like the design work clicks in when it wants to, and I have to be ready to work on it when it wants to.
Yeah, I can't imagine that aspect.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine having to be that level of creative all the time.
It's tough, man. And I'm not, dude. There's guys out there that are so fucking amazing, and like I look at their work all the time, and you hear a lot of this from people, like really, really talented artists. You know, way like I said, I'm here. These dudes are way up here, right? And you hear about, like, you hear customers talking about, man, they just take forever to get it done. I'm like, I can't imagine. It's like you think he's not wanting to go to work because you associate that art as work. Like you go to your 9 to 5, it's not the same. No, sometimes you got to talk. You got to have a 2-hour conversation to just get some shit off your chest to be clear enough to go work on the job.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's a tough deal, you know. So, you know, a lot of painters hit us up and they're kind of like, dude, I can't believe you knock out that much jobs all the time. Like, you know why? Because I'm gonna hate myself for saying this. I've dumbed down my work to where it's stuff that I don't need a mind to do.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So part of being in business is doing what you can do, right? Like, It would be, like I said earlier, for me to charge a right amount of money to work on a Kawasaki, that's not fair to that customer, right?
Yeah.
And if I hire you to do a paint job, like, I'm hiring you because I've already seen your previous work. Mm-hmm. I'm expecting quality, you know. I'm expecting someone who's going to look at all the paintwork before they deliver it to me and not, like, me have to catch a bunch of fucking bullshit, right? But I'm not expecting, like, your next paint job to be the Mona Lisa and then your next paint job to be another Mona Lisa. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, like,
I think that's what we do to ourselves.
No,
that's what I do.
No,
yeah.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. You're always striving to push the envelope, but I don't necessarily know that that's what the customer wants.
True, and I totally agree. I think that, you know, we talked about it earlier. You said something about mortality, you know, and that's kind of what's really set into stone with me is that, you know, I think about, like, every paint job now as I want it to be epic. Like, I don't want to waste my time painting a bike white or red or blue. I want to try to make something badass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what if that's what that customer? What if that's what's epic to that customer?
True. Now
what if
that's where it comes into this new mentality is that my little brother can paint that for you that way. B, I have tons of other friends that are painters that do a great job at that same thing. So I try not to overwhelm myself with jobs that I can't, you know, show my ass on. Yeah, I could start doing repair work and do the solid colors and make good money. But just like we talked about earlier, I could also want to ride across country and just spend my life on the road. But I'm also going to feel like I missed out on what I could be doing with my potential.
No, there's a level of art and skill. You know, even what I do, like, it's mechanical. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not art in the same way. But I definitely sometimes I run into, like, you know, I always feel like I got to be building a bike. You know, that's what I do.
It's an outlet, you know, dude. It's release.
It's my craft, you know, and I feel like if I'm just showing up to work, not doing my craft, then, like, I'm just clocking in and clocking out, and I'm not interested in that. But it's a huge challenge to be like, okay, I build this bike, now what's next? Mm. You know, like, I can't imagine having to do that every other week.
Think about it like this, like, you know, I can't remember who we were talking about. I think I was talking to Big Joe about, like, legacy and shit. So when you do a paint job, like, there's a lot of painters now. And I'm a product of Monster Garage and fucking all that. I'm a product of that. Yeah. So I can't imagine the people that came into this stuff when I did, and all the people that continually do because of social media now. But like how do you set yourself apart from the thousands and thousands of painters, out there, right?
You don't.
You don't. But what you're doing is like, the reason people want to come to us is for whatever reasons they have, right? Same thing for you. Like, there's one of the guys that reached out and said that we could stay with him and Tracy. I didn't follow him on Instagram, but he said, "Hey, dude, if you want to stay here, cool." I looked on his page. I'm like, this dude's a fucking talented painter, and I've never heard of the guy before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so that just shows you there's a lot of talented people. So why people are choosing me? There's got to be something else to that other than just the.
No, because it's about personal relationships.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's be real. Like, there's a million people who can work on Harleys.
Yeah.
Okay. There are, like, what we do, I like to think it's special, but really at the same time, like, you dedicate enough time, you can probably fix your own bike.
Yeah.
But that being said, like, when you come in, I want you to feel like, what? John's my homeboy. He's got my back. Like, I want that customer experience to be a positive one where when the customer leaves, like, he's feeling like, right on, John's my boy. He's taking care of me. Now I feel like that's what's different from me to that guy down the street who's a dickhead who just wants to fix primaries.
Yeah.
Or what? I keep saying primaries. God damn it. Anyway, do handlebar jobs. There we go. That's what's different, and that's why.
See, that's what I'm saying. I want a shop like that. I want a shop where I want employees that work for me that love motorcycles and just want to work and just want to do exactly what we're talking about. I want that, right? I want people that are just jazzed about the fact that they work on bikes, and then I want to be able to have a shop to where I can give these guys the outlet to do it and be a part of it, and B, the customers that are out there that are. That are not buying stuff from us online or shipping us stuff, that they can come in and experience it firsthand. It's a whole nother bag of problems. Let's not get this. Let's be honest. No,
without a doubt, no.
Yeah,
but life's full of problems. Like, it's gonna be whether I look at my father-in-law. Like, guy's got it made. Goes and plays golf or plays cards every morning. But that guy will find something to bitch about. Like, whether the lawn's too low, people are parking on the street. I think that's all of us, human nature, right? Like, no matter how good things are, we're going to have our problems. That's just part of life. But maybe the first one to tell you, owning a bike shop on the kind of level we have is fucking insane.
It is.
It's crazy stressful. I've made a decision this year that, like, hey, look, I've got to figure this out. Like, either I can run this and not be so stressed all the time, or maybe I need to do something else. Yeah. Like, because...
Do you feel like, let me ask you this question. This is something I've been playing with in my head. I feel like that stress from that job, as much as we all hate it, right? I feel like that stress gives us purpose.
No, it does. I think I'm addicted to the stress, and I think if you ask anybody in my life who knows me, my wife, my buddies, my brother, whatever.
Like, without the stress, you'll be depressed almost.
No, I think so. It does give us a sense of purpose. But at the same time, I'm overweight. I want to be around to see grandkids.
Yeah, exactly.
I do. Like, and stress is going to kill us.
Yeah,
it is. And when I step back and look at what am I stressed about, 99% of it is self-induced.
True.
I'm a people pleaser. Like, I want to, like, if a customer has a run on Saturday, I want him to have his bike as bad as he wants to have it. Sometimes that's not possible.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking trying to move earth and wind to make that happen. And I'm stressed out about it, and I'm not sleeping. I'm up at 5 a.m. and, doing.
Well, that's what's good about things like this podcast when people listen to it, is that they don't get that sincerity that you have through just your Instagram or maybe your stressed out conversation that you're having with them at the time about the situation. They don't understand. They might feel like, to you, it's just like, you know what, I got better things to do this weekend. You're not number one. When realistically, you're losing sleep over it. You're fucking.
Absolutely. No, I want my customers to have a great experience with me Because let's face it, like, if a customer has a shitty experience with me, and I know some have, like, I'm not perfect. I try and be as good as I can possibly be, but that might ruin motorcycling for that guy.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that I have that kind of power or anything like that. But if that guy's on the fence of whether or not he really likes Harleys or motorcycling in general, and I treat that guy like dog shit, maybe he's just gonna say, fuck it.
This isn't my thing.
This ain't my thing. You know, let me go buy a boat. You know? And I've just lost out on a customer for the next 20 years.
You just fucked maybe other people.
No, right? No, that's true.
The industry, you know what I mean?
It is. It's an industry. And if we don't take care of it, all of us, maybe we all won't be here.
Yeah.
You know? But you're right. That is something I don't think customers realize, or even all of us realize, that, like, doing this, like, if you're not sincere and you don't, like, take this shit to heart,
yeah,
like, maybe you're not going to be there.
Well, maybe your heart isn't in it, because if your heart is in this motorcycle stuff, then you want, like you said, you want that customer's experience to be just as grand as, like, the way you feel about bikes. And, you know, we talk about this kind of thing often, about how a lot of shops, you'll see that they have a lot more interest outside of motorcycles, and motorcycles seem to be the paving road for that thing. Like, some dudes are really into speedboats. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not hating them.
No, absolutely.
But, you know, I find that the people that are really, really in tune with motorcycles, and that are working all week, and they're also going on runs on the weekend, or they're doing this, or they're creating events like you're creating, they're giving so much back into the actual culture of motorcycles that they are more relevant to me in the motorcycle industry than someone that comes in, takes the money, and goes and dumps it in boats. And dumps it in other stuff like that.
Absolutely. No, I love motorcycles. I'm a motorcycle junkie. Like, I love all motorcycles. I got a BMW S1000. You know, I have a goal of dragging my knee around a corner. Like, that's gonna happen. You know, I'm as motorcycle junkie as there gets. But when you're in this industry, I can really see how it's really easy to be like, oh my God, I'm burnt. Like, let me go get a speedboat.
Yeah.
You know, I need an outlet.
Yeah, I totally get that. And I think that, of course, this is just me, right? Yeah. This is just me. But my outlet is riding motorcycles.
Me too.
You know, it's getting out and maybe doing something different. Like I said, you got the mountains within, you could throw a rock at them. Yeah. You know what I mean? We don't. But I still enjoy the motorcycle. I still going out and doing it, you know. Maybe also a lot of, you know, you don't hear about a lot of bike shops who literally will go down, you know, like, say, for instance, we helped start a bike night in Dallas for DFW Dynas and FXR guys. And all I do is go sit there and do podcasts with these dudes. We just sit there and talk for hours about motorcycles. And it's a release. It's like, it's a release for me out of the shop. I get to vent a little bit. Maybe, you know, I probably shouldn't, but, you know, it's just, I'm just being honest.
No, absolutely.
You know, so it's like when you bottle up all these thoughts and emotions and shit, and then you go take them out and you go do speedboats instead of motorcycle shit. You know, I feel like if you just invest in the people on a more personal level, maybe you can find some stress relief in that.
No, absolutely. You light the fire again. You know, like, we're doing this campout thing. You know, and so what I started thinking about was, you know, part of listening to your podcast and just how things have been evolving over the past couple of years was, I started thinking, like, what do I like? What is making motorcycling cool for me? Because going to Street Vibes and looking at chiropractors and fucking cheap chaps and that shit ain't doing it. Like, you know, you go to Hollister, you go to Street Vibrations, wherever, it's the same shit. Yeah. You know? And it just wasn't doing, like, I would go and not have a good time. So I'm like, well, you know, what is it that makes things cool for me? And it's the people. It's you know, just, you know, investing in people and bike nights. Like, yeah, you know, our shop does get exposure and that's great, but I'm not trying, like,
or maybe think about it like this. Because you have exposure, you're creating an event that other people are going to come to because of your exposure and give them people an opportunity. Like,
absolutely.
When you have a following and you put your name behind something, it brings more people to the pot. So it's, it becomes a point where like the selling of your business is kind of like secondary. You're really doing the bike night to have a good time.
Absolutely.
Right? And you have the space. If I had the space, we'd probably do the same thing.
No, we have the space. We have a great, it's on shitty Wilson Way, but the cops don't mess with us.
Yeah, they got bigger shit to deal with.
we got our parking lot doesn't really have the best pavement. It's probably older than any of us.
Yeah.
But we have a great time. And I hope the campout turns out to be something like that because we're not doing vendors.
Yeah.
We're gonna have like.
Let's talk about the whole campout. I think that's pretty awesome. So, just start from the beginning on that. I guess.
We're. Like I was listening to your podcast and you guys keep talking about campouts. I was like, you know what? I don't know of any that are up here. Now, since I've started planning it, I've heard of some. Yeah. But I didn't know of any.
Yeah.
I keep seeing that in LA, like through my social media, like Bitwell and all these companies are like doing all this cool shit down in LA. But I can't just blast down to LA every weekend.
Yeah.
Or I probably could, but I choose not to.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, somebody needs to do something. And I was like, fuck it, it'll be me. So I just threw it out on social media, like, hey, anybody even know of a cool campground? So I didn't know where to start. Like, up here, you got to book that shit like the minute, you got to be on the national website or whatever. And the minute it's available, somebody's booking that shit.
Yeah.
And I knew with this kind of crowd, 10 o'clock shut-off time ain't going to cut it. We're going to have sheriffs there. It's not going to be a good deal. So one of my, I don't think he's even a customer, but somebody who follows me on social media recommended a place up in Wilseyville, private campground. We got to charge because the guy charges us. We got to have insurance and all this stuff that comes along with planning these big events. Or medium events, or whatever it turns out to be. But the whole idea was like, let's just do something to improve the motorcycle community. You know what? So that guy who maybe bought his first 2003 Softail Deuce, maybe he'll see that on social media. Maybe he'll come up, camp, make some new friends, enjoy riding bikes. Maybe we can talk him into an FXR or something, but maybe not. Who cares? As long as he's having a good time, that's all I care about. That the more people are riding bikes, the better my business is going to do, the better everybody's business is going to do. I don't believe this bullshit that Harley's, that we were reading in MSNBC about the decline of Harley. Well, they know what the fuck they're talking about. Let me back up a little bit. But what I mean is, as the culture, it's not a decline of the Harley culture.
Yeah.
It's maybe a decline in quarterly profits and, the new bikes and all that stuff. But that's just because Harley's made a badass bike for damn near 20 years. Since the Twin Cam came out, and even Evos before that, like they're fairly reliable, right?
Yeah.
So you can jump on a bike. I sell a customer, we got a 05 Ultra Classic in there. It's got 80,000 miles on it. And the bike is still like bomb. It's ready to go. Like I jump on it and go to New York right now.
Yeah.
And that bike, I think we're going to sell it for like $6,900. Like the cost of getting into this industry has dropped so much.
Yeah.
Or not industry, but getting into this hobby.
Yeah.
Has dropped so much compared to what it was 10 or 15 years ago that more people can enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think that's what's fucking Harley is that instead of being like they were in the 90s where you had to get on a waiting list, they were making less bikes.
That's
put out they put out so much to think that, okay, every year we're going to double our profits. And now that even though they're probably making good sales, it's not what the people that put money into Harley want. They want more.
Because that's the problem, right? It's stockholders and people who aren't bikers. It's guys buying Harley just because they think it's going to be good for their 401k.
Yeah, they're trying to think it's going to be like
whatever.
a fucking truck where you go drop 70 grand on a new dually, and then 2 years later it's like, you know what? That new one has this color paint job. I'm trading this one in. I'm under it 140 grand.
But and I don't barely have a high school education, so I can barely talk about this stuff in an educated manner. But the way I see it is, our country is so worried about quarterly profits. You have companies, big companies like Harley or the CEOs, who know that I'm going to be here for 4 years. I'm not going to be the CEO of Harley for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's just name a company that has one. They're going to be gone. Mm-hmm. They're looking to get their bonus, their whatever the hell they can get right now. And who cares if this company's around in 50 or 100 years?
Yeah.
So that's why Harley started overproducing bikes, because they wanted quarterly profits, right? So now they're a victim of their own success. They have all these amazing used bikes on the market that me, you, or your little brother, he just got a Dyna for how much?
He got a 1997 with 11,000 miles is a mint bike for $4,000.
Right?
It's an Evo. Those things go 100,000 miles.
Yeah, like that bike is fucking legit.
Yeah.
So Harley's competing against their own bikes.
Mm-hmm.
Had they slowed production down and said, hey, look, we want to be around another 100 years, that, what? We would all benefit, because used bike prices would still be high.
Yeah.
Harley would still be having a modest growth. That's my...
It makes sense, because when I first got into Harley...
That's my Manteca High education, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, it makes sense, because when I first got into Harleys, like the allure of it was like, man, like when you take it off the lot, they're still worth the same amount. Yeah. And it's not the case anymore.
No.
Like, you back in the day, you put 30 grand in a Harley, you could almost get it back.
Yeah, no, I can't. My first Fat Boy, I think I bought it for 20 and sold it for 25. Mm-hmm. What other vehicle does that? But that's what's so badass about a Harley, right? Mm-hmm. I'm riding a, 80s. My main bike that I love is an 85.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing on it that's an 85 is the frame and maybe the fender, But I know with the support of the aftermarket industry that we have, that could be the last bike I ever own. That
good thing, the one thing to think about is if Harley, which let's be honest, I don't ever think Harley will ever go away. I mean, I think that they'll downsize the company.
It's
to
going
small.
to be in a different capacity, but
the aftermarket is going to continue to go, because people love motorcycles, and people do love Harleys, even though they've kind of, put themselves in. Who knows what they were thinking when they got rid of the Dyna? Who the fuck knows, right?
Yeah. Bedazzled jeans, people were talking about it. Yeah, I'm sure.
So, you would think and then who'd have thought that they would get rid of the one thing that was being sold to the younger market, and then wonder how to get the younger market back on the bikes after you got rid of the thing that the younger people were buying.
Well, I'm not educated enough to tell you that Harley's being run by bikers or not. Mm-hmm. But my guess is that it's not being ran by bikers. It's being ran by guys, who went and got some master's degree or whatever in business administration, whose father-in-law had a bike and they went and bought one, and maybe, they ride it a little
Maybe
bit.
There's a bike in the gene pool somewhere.
Yeah,
but
you know what I mean?
theirs.
But guys like Willie G, guys who are
innovators
and actually were had a passion for motorcycles. There's a difference. Let's face it, people don't buy Harleys because they want the latest and greatest cutting edge technology.
No, I was blown away when remember that TV show that came out on Discovery? It was like Harley and the Davidsons, right? And so, I mean, it's a TV show, so of course everything's in Harley's favor on that thing, but you look at some of the design qualities that they had on the bikes in the 40s, right? And then you look at a FL front fender, and it's the same motherfucking front fender.
Yeah, but that's what makes Harley badass.
Yes, exactly. That's what's cool. And that's what I'm saying, is that they found a way to make something so classic looking last 100 years almost, right? And that's what's cool. And it's funny how Harley felt like the need to go towards fuel injection, all this crazy shit to meet such a small. I feel like, I don't know, maybe not a small. Obviously, it's a bigger thing than I'm seeing, but let's make all these bikes so, metric-y and with like precision of metric bikes. When now it's like most of us like the older shit that was like leaking base gaskets and
how dumb is that?
Got to warm up bikes now. Like I'm more.
So
into,
are we stupid?
I was thinking about it the way over here because Horsepower Inc. is one of our sponsors on the podcast, and they build some badass shit. But I'm like, fuck, I'm into carburetors right now.
Well, let's face it. So fuel injection is great for guys like me.
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't have a dyno machine, you don't have like a lot of money and invested in schooling and all that, like you don't stand a chance in your garage. All these stupid little tuners that they sell on you that have all this marketing for, we can do it, no dyno needed, all that. Industry's not there yet. I don't care who tells you it is, it ain't.
Yeah.
So for the average guy to be able to tune his bike in his garage, he needs a carburetor. But fuel injection is so much fucking better.
It is better.
Like,
I'm not gonna lie.
No, like it's amazing. Like, but so here's the challenge: you have a company like Harley that wants to get better, technically, or develop a better product. But you gotta stay true to your heritage. Like the dyno or the FXR, it's got a twin shock in the back, and it's nostalgic. There's not a lot of metric bikes that do that anymore. But if a guy wants that, he goes and buys a metric bike.
Yeah, exactly.
So where I think Harley fucked up, and like I said, I've got a man to get high education. I'm not, but I do have a lot of time in the industry. Is we don't buy Harleys to be the next great innovator. We buy Harleys because of the heritage. You're going to buy a Harley and hopefully it's the last bike you have to own. If you're happy with that model, you can make that model the best it can ever be and modify it every which way from Sunday.
And you can change it as the times change, as the styles change.
Absolutely.
Think about it from the FXR's perspective. You come out and then in the mid 90s, you get all these, like we were talking about the hamster guys, they were doing all this pro street stuff with them. And then they kind of disappear for a while, and then next thing you know, kids are doing wheelies on them, and everybody's putting fairings on them and shit now, or leaving the fairings on them. And so now this bike that was made 30 years ago has gone through two phases of styles of bikes that's most popular in. And eventually, if this kind of trend goes on another 20, 30 years, that bike's going to be scarce. Like, people talk about, there's only so many RT 83s, you know what I'm saying? Well, eventually there really is going to be only so many R3 or RT 83s. So, that's the kind of cool thing about Harley is that, you built a bike that, you built a bike to be a cult following because that's what really made your brand badass. It wasn't, the fact that now we have, a coolant line coming through our side covers or whatever the fuck's going on. I'm not
against coolant lines. I'm not against whatever. I hope that the bike they build 20 years from now is better than the bike they build today.
Yeah.
We don't want it static. But at the same time, I feel, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like Harley is going, we're a bike sales company. We're not a part sales. We're not a lifestyle brand, They want to sell new units, the same way Ford or Chevy or anything.
You hear about Ford stop making all their cars? They only make the Mustang and the trucks now?
I heard about that shit. But
that was crazy.
But you buy a vehicle, a new vehicle, it's all made of plastic, it's garbage, it has a shelf life. Who's driving a 1987 Bronco? Right?
I think there's a scene for that.
Okay.
Maybe not the right car to pick.
All right, but you know what I mean?
97 Cavalier. Let's go
there. There you go. But whatever car, they don't have a huge aftermarket. Some of them do, but the vast majority of them don't. It's not a car. It's a car that's going to be thrown away at some point.
That brings up a good point. Think about this. If you're building a car, the only cars that are in our past, and especially in the last 20 years that are popular now, are the cars that aftermarket's embraced.
That's what it is.
Think about it. For Harley, it's like they at all ends try to cut aftermarket out of their business sales, but think about it. That's what makes
Without
things.
us, they're done.
Exactly.
Without us, they're done.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that, you know, I see in some markets like San Diego Choppers or Customs.
Yeah.
I don't know those guys. Like, I admire some of their marketing. Like, they're really good at it.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems to me like I know nothing about that, but it seems like they have a really good relationship with their local dealer because like they're doing joint events and all this kind of thing.
Exactly.
Because the local dealer understands that, hey, you know what? We're a dealer. We're not doing this crazy custom stuff.
Yep.
But that's what drives this market.
And that's what we've been trying to talk with, you know, because Quaid is the same way. They do a lot. They work a lot with aftermarket shots, or at least from what we see through social media. And so back in Texas, you know, we have a couple dealerships that kind of come on the map and fall off. It's because they start fucking with us aftermarket shops and they're sharing the wealth, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't sell Harleys. You do. That's what you really want to do is sell the Harleys. Now, you can also do the oil change. I don't need that. But, you know, some of this custom shit or this lifestyle that we've created the lifestyle here locally. You haven't. You're still doing poker runs and shit. Like, nobody does that shit no more.
I mean, you know, I have a really good relationship with our local dealer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but we do completely different things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, are there going to be some overlap? Yeah, the guy might come.
There's probably not a lot of guys in there that work on old Evos and shit. You know,
they're
maybe the Master Tech.
I'll do a 1,000-mile service all day long.
Yeah,
I love them, as many as you can bring me. You know, but Harley does that too. But there are always going to be that customer who will only go to Harley. There's going to be that customer who will only go to me. So,
and to be honest with you, I think there's more of those guys like that really just trust the dealership and are going to stay on there.
There are.
Which means that they will always have that customer, and we'll have the edgy ones, the ones that want to try something new.
I really, really believe this. The better that my local Harley dealer does, the better I'm going to do.
Yeah.
The more bikes they sell, the more.
I've reached out to my local, meaning the ones that are within like my town. Like Dallas-Fort Worth has quite a few within reason. But they're, you know, like I said, you're going in there. There's like one kid that follows us that knows what the fuck's going on. It's like, this guy, you got to listen to him. You know, sit down with the table with the owners. You tell them what they need to do. And these guys are like, all right, that dude came in here in the 03 Tahoe. His shit looks fucked up. Like, what is this dude going to tell us about business or about marketing or this, that, and the other? And it's like, whoa, I'm a biker. I got some nice bikes I can bring up here. You know, you guys are the ones that are doing these fucking nice cars. Like, I'm not into cars. I'm into bikes. So,
you know what absolutely. I mean? No, absolutely. But, like, you know, without a doubt, the aftermarket industry keeps Harley going.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And a lot of times we're treated like
the problem.
The competition. I'm not a competition.
Yeah.
I can't Harley could shut me down tomorrow. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, let's be real. They got deep pockets. You know, I'm no real competition on Harley.
What if you think about it like this? If I was Harley, let's just say the Fast Life Garage was Harley Davidson, right? And then there was thousands of people who wanted to make something to make the product that we put out better.
Are you kidding me? Right? There's bike shows dedicated to making your product better.
Yeah. And then I'm so jealous of them getting
You're canceling warranties and doing all this crazy
anything to keep
shit.
people from spending money with the people that are only there because of something I created for them. That's a crazy concept when you start putting yourself in the other shoes or whatever,
because
you know?
we're back to the quarterly profits thing.
Yeah.
We're saying, oh, well, we didn't sell enough Screaming Eagle products this quarter because HPI or SNS or whoever, you know, instead of
well, did they do this to you? Because we used to, you know, there's some things you just want to run Harley when it comes to working on bikes,
Absolutely.
certain gaskets or things like that. And we used to do about, you know, small shop, mind you, I'm not big, but we used to do 20 to 40 grand, maybe even 60 grand a year in Harley shit that we need from Harley.
Yeah.
And we used to get a dealer account through that stuff, so that basically when we go buy that gasket or that specific thing from Harley, and then Harley cut all the dealers because they didn't want people going there anymore for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm like, okay, well, I was still spending $40,000 with you. I was still spending that money, and now I'm going to find another method to do it because you don't appreciate that.
Well, but a lot of that's the crazy part is if you're a Harley dealer, a lot of it's not in your control, right? Like, you're dealing with what the guys with bedazzled jeans showing up at dealer shows, getting you all pumped up about the new M8
We're going to be the
Softail.
best one, yeah.
Yeah, right? But, like, maybe they don't get it. I don't know. I wish I understood that. I really wish I could go to a dealer meeting and be like, why the fuck did you guys do that? You know?
Like, what's your end goal with this thought right now? Because it sounds cool to you guys, but this is maybe something that...
Maybe you haven't thought about this. Like, I'd really like to believe that the people running Harley are not like, hey, fuck it, let's just take the quarterly profits. Let's take our bonus. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd like to think that that's not happening. And maybe they're just so out of touch. Like, I've never been to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like,
it seems like there's probably a lot of enthusiasts that work there in positions of no power or influence.
Yeah, probably,
it's like,
right?
There's people there that love bikes and are like, no, don't do this. And then they're like, you know what? Well, shut the door. All the fucking common workers out here are getting in our fucking way of doing what we know how to do.
Because they're corporate executives.
Yeah.
And they're going to hire their buddy who graduated with them. And most
he owes
of us,
a favor for getting him in a frat or something.
Yeah, most of us aren't that guy. Like, most of us, like...
Yeah, we don't wear Versace shirts to go sell service work. Yeah,
we're dumb enough to, like, I graduated high school and, like, I got into motorcycles and that was all she wrote. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping that pendulums swing, right?
I think it will. I
pendulums got to swing, right?
But sometimes, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to reference this right, but I was listening. I don't know if you checked out that new that Danny Dixon, his podcast. It's kind of short.
A little bit.
He had this dude named Delmo on there, which I've always been a huge fan of Delmo and the trucks that he builds. And he talked about how he would build his business up, and he would unintentionally would just grow and grow and grow and grow to the point where it was kind of overwhelming to him, and he had to stop it and start over. And I think that's kind of what's happening is that Harley's businesses grew. No matter what, they're selling more bikes now than they did in '98. That's for damn sure.
And that's growth, and that's a good thing, right?
So it's just losing, what growth really is. And we're not iPhones. So you're not like you're selling to 2% probably of the American populations when iPhones is probably 70 or 80%. So we're talking about hundreds of millions of people compared to maybe the 10 million people that ride Harleys, tops. They don't need a new one every year.
No, we don't. And Harley shouldn't be trying to sell you a new bike every year.
Yeah, so why don't you just cut production costs and do 1 year of this, and then just kind of let that one go for 2 years, and then 2 years later make some.
Because then the guys with bedazzled jeans don't get their quarterly bonus.
And
that's what makes the world go round. But Harley's going to survive. Without a doubt, Harley will survive. I hope that a lot of the dealers who've because the dealers are they're definitely more well off than you
Think
or
about
I.
Think about this. The FXR came from a time when Harley was done. They didn't know what to do. It was over for them, right?
Yep.
They pulled out some bag of tricks and built something amazing, and they had slack for it, and we're giving them slack for the Softail, even though I just don't see the Softail panning out like an FXR has.
Yeah, but what if they had taken that Softail and did more of an homage to classic shit?
Yeah.
Like when that Sport Glide, oh my God. We heard they're coming out with the Sport Glide.
Yeah, I'm thinking T-Sport or something.
We're all excited. I'm anxious. I'm going, man, maybe I'm going to buy another new bike. I'm expecting something that... I know Harley's not going to come out with an exact replica of an RT.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But maybe it'll be an homage to that.
Yeah.
Instead, they come out with this thing with this weird fairing and these
that
ugly
works with only
wheels,
one bar, and they put forward controls and low bars on a sport-inspired bike.
It's like they're missing the mark. We're all wanting Harley to succeed. I've got a fucking Harley tattoo. You know what I mean? I want Harley to succeed.
Yeah.
I made my whole living off of Harley Davidson motorcycles, and it just feels like that pendulum has to come back. I pray to God that pendulum swings back the other way, where somebody an old school Willie G or something. You know what I mean? Like the family buys it back.
It's almost like it's like they don't allow any individual to have that kind of influence anymore within the company. Like you think about like Willie G, you know, he designed, he did this, he seemed like he had a seat at the table to influence people. And it's like, well, who's the celebrity Harley person? Who's the guy with the ideas that's pushing things and pushing limits and
we don't
creativity?
Know,
we don't know. Like,
isn't that crazy? You know, Billy Lane, you might know me, you, or whoever the hell. But I can't name one designer who works for Harley.
Yeah.
You know, I was really excited. Ed Subius, he was a photographer for Hot Bike, and he went to work for some marketing company that works with Harley. I was like, maybe, please God, let this guy maybe have some sort of influence
just like
on what happens in the future.
I mean, think about it. If Harley was to like become personable, like put somebody, even if it's somebody in charge, like, oh man, like Harley's the big bike shop, like he's the John Jessup of Dream Rides, you know what I mean? Like it's somebody up there that we can be like, oh man, he's fucking up, or man,
do you
see
know
that
who
bike?
The CEO of Harley is right now?
No idea.
Me either.
Yeah.
Like, how is it that we make our living from a product?
And I know the CEO or the owner of almost every product and company that I work with and sell stuff from.
Right?
But the main one, I have no idea.
I can't even tell you his name. Like, there's no personality behind it, and maybe that's on purpose.
Yeah, or maybe that's where they're falling short, is because nowadays with businesses, like personality and being like you're not just a logo anymore. You're not like with social media. You have to be a person. You have to be an idea. Like your company has to represent more than a couple colors put into a word. You have to be able to, you know, how are you going to sell your product over the next one? So it is you. It's what you are. How, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what makes products now, and that's what I think a lot of companies are falling short on, is that they're still trying to be this elusive logo or brand. Well, the brand nowadays has to have a lifestyle attached to it for it to be relative for people.
Especially Harleys, like
you're selling a lifestyle.
You're selling a lifestyle, you know, and it's not necessarily the do-rag and chain wallet thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that generation is kind of.
I would argue that, you know, when you hear Harley talk about how they want a younger crowd, I would argue that now there's more younger people ever riding Harleys than ever before. And you've been around long enough to see it, and I have, in a way. There was no fucking buddy in their 20s rolling Harleys in 2004.
No, you're right. So I got my first Harley when I was 21, opened a shop when I was 23, and all my friends were in their 50s. Mm-hmm. Like, all of them. There were no young people riding bikes, you know, because it was so expensive.
Now think about all the products and all the brands now that are popular within this performance Harley scene.
They cater to young people.
And then Harley is like, well, you know, we're trying to figure out how to get young people on these Harleys. Motherfucker, we already are. Or they already are. I'm not young anymore.
Yeah, we have a bike night. I swear to God, 50, 60% of the bike night are people probably under 30.
Yeah.
You know? And they're out doing things, and they're having a great time, but they're just not signing the dotted line for a $30,000 bike.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the other argument is, why the fuck would you... You know, obviously, motorcycles across the board have all gone up in price. I mean, I used to be able to get a Hayabusa for less than $10,000, and now they're like fucking almost $20,000 or $18,000 or something. I was like, it's retarded, right?
Yeah, well, that's how it is.
That's how things are going, right? But you know, it is tough to be a sell on people on Harleys when you're trying to sell this vibe. It's like, yeah, you can go buy a Dyna for $4,000. An FXR for $4,000, or
right.
Get you a basket case and build you a chopper for, you know, and not be into it. And I think I think it was Joe on this podcast made a good point about it. He said, not Joe Kidd, but
Joe. How do you pronounce it? I want to say Milky, but I want to be like, the guy seems hella cool. I've never met him. I don't want to be a dick.
Just call him Big Joe, I guess.
Big Joe.
But he had some good points and good ways, and he said that more people are going to be more like my brother. Like, even though he got it from Harley, it's like he didn't want to drop fucking $18,000.
Because these kids are smarter.
Yeah.
They have social media. You can go right now. And I can look and see what bikes are for sale in Philadelphia. Like, you couldn't do that 10 years ago, right? Like, you just...
It's different. And
it's different.
And like I was saying, like, with the times and changing, you know, the way they have, you know, some people don't like social media. Some people don't like it. They think it's horrible, but you have to be able to, you can't be the guy sticking with film when everything goes digital, man. No. You have to be able to adapt to the way things are advertised, way things are promoted, way they're framed in this world, and you have to be a part of it. If not, you know, you better either have a huge following before this ever got big to where you can stick to that nostalgic way of doing it, or you're going to get ran over by somebody in their garage that does good social media.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
How badass is that though? Like,
it's cool. You know, it's stressful, but it's cool. You know, but it's also what's even fun about it is that, you know, man, the possibilities of where all this shit can go is endless. You know what I mean? Maybe for us, Harley might be limited, but
it's only limited by their own deal.
Yeah.
But their measure of success is way distorted.
Yeah. Like, to me, it's like, I got 20 extra bucks after the rent was paid, fucking winning. You know what I mean?
Right? Like, finally, for one time in my life, like, I know my PG&E ain't getting turned off. Mm-hmm. Like, I've had to sell a bike to get my PG&E on. Like, we've been there, right?
Yeah.
It can be crazy. But our measure of success is completely different. Like, we want to I want to live my life, do something I enjoy, and whatever happens is cool, you know?
Do you find that, like, nowadays, like, you know, this is another thing I was thinking about this long trip over here, is that, like, you know, you're older in the game. It's like,
that's weird when people tell me that, by the way. Because, like, I feel like the young guy still, but I feel like the young guy too now.
I feel like the young guy still too, but when I start talking to people and we get into deep conversation, I start talking about a time that they were, you know, still in elementary school or something. And I'm like, you know, fuck, dude, like, I'm old as fuck now, you know what I mean? But, you know, naturally, because I think we're a little bit older, it's easier for us to have more grasp on how to run our business correctly, right? Which can be inspiring to other people wanting to run their business. So. But also because we're motorcyclists, we have people that get inspired by how we handle ourselves bike-wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's been inspiring for me is when, you know, you get people reached out like, dude, I fucking, you know, like, and I guarantee you will from after this. People are like, dude, I love your story, blah, blah, blah. Inspiring people has become something that's fun, but I don't know. I say fun like it's a game or something. No, it's just cool to, like, show people the way I'm seeing the world, the way I'm seeing motorcycles, and hopefully they see it the same way, or they see what I'm seeing and they're like, fuck yeah, that looks dope. I want to try it. I want to see it and shit like that. So I'm getting more people that are being more inspired by the things that we do than necessarily because they follow us because of paint work. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. But so what I've found, the happiest I am in life is when I'm helping other people. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, having the coolest possessions, well, you know, I think fucking it's amazing the stuff I have. I'm thankful that I have it. And it makes me happy for a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. But when I help someone else get a bike who maybe couldn't have gotten one without my help, that's true joy. You know what I mean? And sharing that, my passion for motorcycles, you know, and in my circle, like, everyone rides FXRs. And maybe it's because I was in FXRs, or maybe it's just whatever the reason. I don't want to take credit for anything. Mm-hmm. But to help people get in something that they really enjoy, and now watching them take the ball and run with it. Mm-hmm. Like my younger brother, Tom, Tom is amazing at what he does. He's a way better mechanic, better dyno tuner than I ever was or ever will be. Mm-hmm. You know, he's the shit. And to see, you know, we helped him get his FXR, my partner Jim and I, we helped him get his FXR, and to see what he's doing with that thing is amazing. You guys think I built a cool bike? Wait till he drops his. Hopefully it's done by August.
Yeah.
You know, it's badass. And for me, the real joy comes from enabling other people to succeed. You know, that's the thing that really motivates me.
See, I think I'm the same way. I like doing whatever I can with my resources to help people get things that I'm interested in. That's probably super selfish.
No,
of
it
me,
is, but we're all like that.
You know, but it's like me, it's like, okay, if one of my friends says like, man, I want an FXR, I'm like, oh, dude, all right, this is FXR Mike, this is John, this is Joe. They usually have some bikes for sale. They're, you know, good options. If not, blah, blah, blah. And then this guy makes a good part, good exhaust, good seat. But, you know, I get super enthusiastic and then things like that. But I don't know, man. It's
how badass is that when somebody comes to you though, and you just rattled off a whole laundry list of people that can benefit from you helping that guy
but I'm helping
get a bike,
people.
But you're helping all these other people succeed. Like,
you know, one thing, I've done this with a few people. I've done it with one of the guys that got a bike, a Dyna recently. I don't look at it like I'm trying to make a profit. Like if Joe Blow came to me and goes, man, I heard your podcast, I really want an FXR now. Like, I'm like, well, here's Joe. He's got this for sale. Mike just finished this R4 or R3.
Whatever it is.
Whatever the fuck it is. And then, you know, you got a couple bikes, and I'm like, check these guys out. And I'm not like, hey, Joe, there's a guy calling you.
$500 for that.
Just let me know if this guy buys it, you know, kick me a little bit of money. And because I'm not interested. I don't need that money.
Nope.
I don't. I'm not. I feel like, to me, if I'm going to help my friend out at a cost, then it's pointless to me. When I helped my buddy Zombie Mike sell his Dyna, he kept trying to give me money. Eventually, I took his money, but he kept trying to give me like, hey, dude, here's some money for this. I was like, dude, I didn't do that to get money. Like, this dude wanted a Dyna. You had a sick ass Dyna for sale, you know, and you know, if I had the money, I would have bought the Dyna from you. But you know, he wanted one, and that was a good fucking deal. So you guys both win. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's like, well, let me do this. I was like, you know, and that's kind of the deal. It's like, you just want to see. You end up just supporting people that you know are gonna. You want to make sure that, like, okay, I know you're a good dude now, and I know that if I tell someone to come get a bike from you, they're not getting a fucking.
Yeah, they're not getting hosed.
Yeah, exactly. Like some bullshit that's like ready to blow up 10 miles down the road.
Absolutely.
But you know, it's just one of those deals, man. Like, you just want to help, and it becomes a small community of people that are really trying. And that's what I love about the FXR scene, is how a lot of people in there are all cool. I mean, there's obviously some differences. I think Joe's podcast kind of brought up a few things with some certain people.
I just, I don't get all that. You know, like, I love FXRs, and I have a little theory that the reason a lot of people who ride FXRs get along is because the bike humbles you, right? We're buying these old bikes that are, let's face it, like, we're dealing with old ass technology. And I'm not going to say they're a piece of shit, because they're not a piece of shit. But get on anything that's 20, 25 years old and jump on it and expect it to be problem free. You're smoking rocks. It's not going to happen. But most of us who buy them work on them ourselves. We fix them ourselves, you know, on one level or another.
Yeah.
And the bikes put you to the test. Like, you're going to be humbled by that bike. Like, I've built a lot of motorcycles, and that bike humbles you, so that you and I were talking, like, we're not that big wheel bagger guy who just fucking had $100,000 and just walked out and bought one.
Yeah.
Like, and had somebody else do it all. Most of the FXR community isn't like that. It's kind of sad, like, the past couple years, there's been some egos, and they clash and this and that. And I think that happens anytime that people are now looking at this as a money-making opportunity. For me, I decided early on the FXR thing was an outlet for me. I already have a business. This is where I make my money. I you know, we do anything you want to whatever kind of bike you want. But for me, personally, I love FXRs.
Yeah.
So I had to make a choice early on, you know, with these pages and all this. I'm only going to sell you a part if you ask me to sell it to you. I'm not going to be on there selling shocks and trying to be the cheapest price on a Thunderheader, or, you know, just being a pimp. Like, and if you do that, right on, nothing negative to you. Like, that's cool, you know, whatever. It's not my business, you know. But for me personally, I wanted that to be something kind of special for me. You know, like,
you want to be your sandbox, your own
exactly,
thing.
Yeah. Like, I want to go talk to these people on an enthusiast level. I want to be I don't want to be the guy who just owns a shop and is trying to sell you shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy. I want to be a guy who's like, hey, I love FXRs.
Yeah.
Let's talk about FXRs. And if you have something cool, right on. Like, there's been a lot of guys who just make like one part. Like, there's a guy, Durham Allen, up in Oregon, who makes a shift shaft tube. It's badass.
Yeah.
You know, like Dustin Dippert up here, he makes a shift linkage. You know, it's badass. Like Clint Padgett in Kansas, he makes the rod that goes through the shift tube.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and supporting all those little guys is where it's at. Now, you know, we can go on there and other big companies make these products, some of them. But that's not cool. Like, it's cool supporting your friends.
I think I bought my hinge for my seat from somebody off one of the pages that makes it.
Right?
You know, it's
how
like, okay,
cool is that?
$600 or $50. I'm gonna support this guy.
Well, no, but it's cool that we can all support each other, and we're not just ordering shit out of a catalog, being the cheaper fucking guy. Because let's face it, none of us are gonna win that battle.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna go on Amazon or whatever and buy the shit cheaper. You know, whatever.
Can't really combat that.
No, you can't. But early on, getting back to it, the FXR thing kind of saved the motorcycles for me. It got me really enthusiastic, really loving what I do again.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's a really important thing, because so many, you know, me, myself included, man, you just get wrapped up in bikes and bikes and bikes, and it does get to a point where, you know, for me in 2016, the bagger industry got to the point when I would see a bike club of a customer that has been a pain in my ass, my blood would boil. I would get hot. I would get flustered. I'd be pissed, right? Not their fault.
No.
It was just one dude that put me through the ringer of getting his bike done and pleasing this guy. And then another, and then another, and then another. And then I did a podcast with Adam Gould, and he said the best thing is, like, you know, a lot of these people that this is a fashion accessory for them. It's not their vehicle or their vessel for life experiences. And I found that when I started working on bikes for people that are using the bikes for what they're made for and not just to look cool in front of their friends, that
it's a big difference.
It's a big difference in the customer that you're dealing with.
Yes.
Now, you know, I'm dealing with someone who appreciates what I do and not expects it like I'm fucking Burger King or Walmart.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I
got to tell you, for the most part, I have some of the best customers in the world.
I do 100%.
You know, and I'm not going to tell you it's based on a bike, like whether it's an FXR customer or a guy with his 05 Softail or whatever. You know, it's more to do with my customer is a guy who typically rides his motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he is. Maybe he doesn't have all the money in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe that's his fucking prized possession. You know,
like Joe said, some dudes, you know, we're sitting here slinging bikes around like they ain't shit, and some dudes got, you know, wishing he could just have a Sportster, you know.
No, absolutely, it's insane the level to which we've gotten,
mm-hmm.
and then it's really easy to get used to that. Mm-hmm. Right? And it's really easy to lose focus of like
how lucky we are and
lucky we are, and then go to work like, oh, I gotta go to this stupid bike shop today.
Yeah.
You're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, but it's really easy to get caught in that mindset, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I gotta paint another fucking bike. Oh my god.
Just want to get this dude out of my life. Yeah.
Yeah, right? But like, we're so blessed in what we have. The other, you know, like, I look at that, like, I try and stay focused on, like, you know, that customer walking through that door. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want to work on this piece of shit fucking bike.
Mm-hmm.
But I also got to keep in perspective that, you know what, that's what that guy has. And that bike might be the only thing keeping that guy fucking sane.
Mm.
You know, right? Like, it's a lot of us are like that. Like, that bike is what keeps us from going crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and if I can help that customer, like, fix a starter. Most of the time it's something fucking stupid, but they just don't have the know-how or the expertise. That guy might fucking be the best taper in the world doing drywall, but he doesn't know his bike.
Yeah.
But that's all right. I don't know drywall either. So if I can be that guy to help that guy, man, this is gonna say, if I can be the guy to help that guy, but if where I find purpose in my industry is keeping perspective on how great life is and how what I do matters.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to forget that, right?
Yeah, you can, dude, so easily, like.
Hold on, I gotta text my daughter.
Sorry,
She's gotta walk home from school today, and hey Gwen, you're walking home. I'm texting you right now.
No, it's there's a lot of different dynamics that come into play, and finding the ways to deal with them is been the challenge. In which the older I get, it's like new problems arise, and you kind of like deal with new challenges and new like problems with customers. It's just like anything in life. Like you find you 20s, it's like this is the biggest obstacle in life, and then in your 30s, that's an everyday obstacle you deal with on a normal basis.
No big deal.
And same thing with the shop and dealing with customers. It's like, 10 years ago, anybody that called me that I can get to come in the door and spend money was there. Now it's like I screen them. I avoid I try to avoid at all costs any potential customer that's going to be a problem, or be someone that I can't please, or understand their personality to see if their personality is too demanding for what I have to offer. There's so many things that come into place.
That's where I'm struggling. So this year has been kind of some growing pains.
Mm-hmm.
The shop has just been inundated with bikes.
So you think, so you were telling me about how like when you finished the red bike, it just kind of...
Well, I think it's a confluence of a bunch of different factors.
Uh-huh.
Like the red bike was life-changing. You know what I mean? Jeff Holt, when he was with Hot Bike, picked out his best of show at the Hot Bike or the FXRs of California show up here in Sacramento, and like all of a sudden now, like I'm getting phone calls from LA or out of state. Guys wanting me to do projects for them, which is amazing. Like I love doing that stuff because now I'm getting paid to do something I already love to do.
Yeah.
But it was definitely life-changing. But so I've got to figure out how to balance, okay, we want to do these bigger projects.
They're fun,
but we also get all our normal customer base handled as well. So it's been a learning curve, and if I've had your bike for too long, I apologize. I'm trying to get it back to you.
Yeah.
But it's all a learning curve, and I've got to figure out that kind of balance where...
Dude, I'm in the same boat with you right now.
I've got to find the balance where I don't want to be so busy that I'm turning out a shitty product.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we've seen that happen, right? Look at, there have been like pipe manufacturers and stuff in the past 5 years who come out, oh my God, they make an amazing product. Fucking next thing you know, they're 2 years out and you hear their product shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy. I want to be able to be like, hey, look, I did the best job I could do on your bike when we fixed it. And, that's, I really want to focus on doing a quality job, and you're right. You got to screen your customers. Like there are certain customers I've found that just want something for nothing.
Yeah, they want something for nothing, or they don't want to respect the fact that, I mean, think about it. When you start, like now, you're getting customers that are willing to pay the money to get what they want from you, right? So they're paying big money to get that red bike or get something equivalent to that. So, with that big money comes like high expectations, and those high expectations, what I've realized with the paint work is because we've been bombarded with paint work, and I'm super fucking thankful. But I'm realizing right now that I'm still, we've always been good at deadlines and always been good at getting things done when we said we're going to get it done. But the difference between then and now is that now I'm like, you know what? Like, kind of like you referenced before, it's like I want everything I'm doing to be, because I'm only taking in the jobs that I get to make the next Mona Lisa.
Yeah. Okay.
So now it's like every job I'm doing, I'm trying to only outdo the last one in a sense. So it's probably a bad direction to go, but that's the kind of jobs I took in now, and that's what's expected of me. And I enjoy it. I just,
it's stressful.
I've kept it to like this. It's like as soon as somebody has a problem with how long something's been going, hey man, here's your product back. Here's like say your helmets. Here's the helmet that you bought from me, and here's the difference in the deposit. And I'm sorry I couldn't meet your time frame.
Yeah, no.
Realistically, you're kind of taking a load off my shoulders on that, so it's all good.
It's difficult.
But I want every helmet that we do, to be badass. I want everyone, some of those customers like to see that picture that I take of it and post it. So if I do a helmet that I don't take a picture of and post, like, oh, well, what's up, man? Like, was my helmet not cool enough? The answer to that's usually yes. So my thing is, if I want to do shit that I'm going to be proud of, and it's going to be these helmets that I want to take pictures of. There's still little repair jobs and maybe things I do, but honestly, I've been trying to give that stuff to my brother so that he can build his skills and his clientele and his shit up.
Absolutely.
And I'm just doing what I do with the stuff. And I mean, there's a lot of different things going on, but, the FXRs, the Dynas, same thing. Like, I've been totally wanting to leave Dallas, and now we have this Dyna crew down there of all these kids that are not kids, but just people on bikes, like-minded. And I look forward, and I'm going to miss these guys tomorrow night, but I look forward to hanging out with these guys and talking about the type of bikes that I'm interested in.
Absolutely.
And I didn't really have that with Big Wheel Baggers. I didn't really have that camaraderie of people that I could go and share shit with and talk. I mean, the conversations usually would lead towards things that they're interested in, which usually wasn't motorcycles. It was just, their boat or their wife that's, they bought big titties for, and she's out whoring around. Yeah. That's the kind of conversations I used to hear in Big Wheel Baggers,
Not interested.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, dude, that's cool, man. But so you like your bike? Oh, man, but the speedboat I just bought, blah, blah, blah. And so it's just, I didn't connect with these guys,
No, absolutely. No, it's weird when you do something you love for a living, right?
Yeah, I mean,
like, it's weird. Like, so I heard you say this to FXR Mike the other day. Now, I've never even met FXR Mike.
Yeah,
I feel like I know him because I hear him all the time on your podcast. I talk to him online and all that shit. But I heard you say, like, you're lucky you get to go to your welding job.
Yeah.
And then come home. But, like, that guy is out there burning the fucking... Yeah, he goes to his welding job. And then he comes home. He's out there in the garage fucking welding because it's his passion. Like, that's awesome. But, like, we get to do our passion for a job. Like, I think, unless you've done something like this, it's the hardest thing to understand that, like...
It's a constant battle of trying
It's a constant battle to be like, I do what I love, but I still need to love what I do. If that makes any sense.
It does,
like,
yeah.
Because it's easy to take this shit for granted. Like, it's easy to get in the... I think all of us have this negative default, right? Like,
yeah.
Where we're all thinking, like, how come that guy has it better? Or, whatever.
It's just like that show mentality. Like, you get comparative, and I think it's still in my the way I think. I look at certain shops, I'm like, fuck, man, how did they get the opportunity, or how are they doing so well? And I feel like I'm doing more than them. But it's just like you constantly got to check yourself and realize, you know what? I'm doing the best of what I can do. As long as you're doing the most that you can and not half-assing your own life. Then, I think that, in time, when you put energy into something like what you're building for your business or your stuff. They're hot rodding here in Stockton.
Man, I don't know what that is, but it's badass.
So, when you put all that energy into something, you're going to get something out of it eventually at the universe's time they want to give it to you. It might not happen right here and there.
Absolutely. The one thing I can tell you for certain is I don't know what's in my future.
Yeah.
Like...
Same thing with me. I got ideas. I hope it directs this way or that way, but realistically, like, you have to let things unfold and then opportunities unfold as time unfolds.
Look, so far my life has greatly exceeded any of my expectations. Mm-hmm. Like, I come from really humble place. My grandmother raised me. My parents were, all fucked up on drugs. Like, somehow God upstairs or whatever, like, has guided me in this direction. Mm-hmm. and like my life's amazing, and I think it's even gonna get better. Like, 10 years from now, shit's gonna be like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Do I know what that's gonna be like? I don't. Like,
I think August 2014. So August of 2014, that would be almost 4 years ago. I came to Stockton for the first time and worked on Alpine right there, less than a mile from your shop.
Yeah.
And I was working right there, and I was doing this stuff, and then we were on airport. I've been doing all this shit. I never would have thought that 4 years later, the shop I used to pass going to the taco stand, I'd be sitting here having FXR conversations with them on a podcast.
But how cool is that because of social media?
Yeah.
Like, we live in an amazing time.
And I'm from Dallas, Texas, and you're from here.
Right? Like, isn't that crazy? Like, we live in an amazing time where us regular guys have a voice.
Yeah.
We're not slaves to Hot Bike or Easy Rider or what the motor company tells us.
Mm-hmm.
We have a voice. Like, how cool is that shit?
Yeah.
Like, before, and maybe I'm wrong, but before it seemed like, if you're not in that crowd of guys who, you're not the editor's buddy or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have a voice. Now we all have a voice. Now, granted, there's going to be guys out there right now who are building a better bike than me.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you, like, there's some guy who's just got this fucking fire brewing. He's building something badass,
Mm-hmm.
but he doesn't have the reach yet.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he won't get it.
I see that with painters all the time, and that's what's crazy about it all is that, there's some fucking talented painters out there, man.
You gotta pay your dues.
So talented, and I had to do a lot of crackhead shit to have a voice.
Right?
So,
no, absolutely. Like
I had to paint that bike I had to do that work $1,500 to come up here and realize my worth. And I still, even after that, had to do bikes for nothing to get my name out there and to do that. I mean,
no, you have to pay your dues. Like no matter what, you have to eat shit.
Yeah.
Like, we've all had to do it. Like, I assume everybody has.
Yeah, definitely. When it comes to owning a business or creating a brand or a business or skill set, sometimes opportunities, and we've brought this up already, but opportunities have real value if you really are attentive to what the value is. If you're only looking at the here and now, then you miss the reason that opportunity could change your life. And think about how many people don't take on or don't do shit because they never really looked at what the opportunity really is. It might have only been like, okay, I can spend a day or two or a week or whatever, not make a lot of money, be stressed. We've already established that stressfulness can beget greatness,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So,
but it can kill you too.
It is.
So you got to walk that line.
Yeah, I mean, anything good for you is probably bad for you at some point in time, right? So,
but, we were talking about having to pay your dues, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to fucking start from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You have to start with a broom in your hand. Like, if I hire a new guy, before he picks up a wrench, I got to make sure he can sweep the floor.
The totem pole has need to be reintroduced in all businesses across America.
Amen. Amen. Agreed. But, out here from NorCal, you think of, like, some icons.
Yeah.
Arlen Ness, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's just over the hill. That guy had to pay dues too.
Yeah.
Like, he had to sell, when the recession shit and he had just opened that big building.
Yeah, it was right there.
I was just reading in Hot Bike, he had to sell a lot of his shit just to keep it going. We've all been there. Like, no matter what level, especially in this industry, I can only speak for this industry because it's the only one I've ever been a part of.
Yeah.
But I think you have to pay your dues. You have to start from the bottom. Like, I'll never forget having to, start, like a customer would come in, order PM wheels. Well, we all know PM wheels are 6 to 8 weeks out, right?
Yeah.
Well, that customer gives you $5,000, to order his wheels, but now you got to pay your light bill and your phone bill. Otherwise, your business is closed. That puts you to some real tests,
Yeah.
And there was a few times that, like, especially in my younger years, like, I had to call customers and eat shit. Like, hey, bro, I'm sorry, your shit's coming, I promise. Or give them their money back or whatever. And that was part of it. At the time, I thought, oh man, maybe I'm just a shitty business person. And I had a lot to learn. That's part of paying my dues, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, part of that shit that people won't really talk about.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, what it is owning your own business.
I mean, no matter what, I mean, I think we all try not to do the robbing Peter to pay Paul.
I don't do it anymore. Thank God I don't have to.
We have all done it.
Everybody's done it.
Yeah.
Everybody's done it. Like,
yeah.
You know, unless you're that rich guy who's just whatever, but most of us ain't, you know.
I mean, I've done it and I don't have a bad reputation, so I did it and I got away scotch-free from it, but, you know.
I'll tell you what, like, I got caught one time. Like, I've always, you know, and back in the old days when I had to rob Peter to pay Paul, it was because I didn't have a good business sense. Mm-hmm. My overhead was too high. And I had these dreams of, like, you know, being the next Arlen Ness or whatever at 25 years old, which was fucking stupid. But I had taken a deposit for a big motor. A big motor. They were like 4 months out or some shit. Well, just turns out the economy died. In the meantime, that money was gone. Mm-hmm. That was one of the hardest phone calls I ever had to make, was tell that customer, hey, look, here's where I'm at. You know, I was just honest about it. You know, I was like, I got a bike right over here. I'm selling it. I was selling that. I sold the motorcycle to give this man his money back. Mm-hmm. You know, because I was young and immature in business. Like, I just didn't know what I was doing. Like,
so can we?
And that's not a cop out. That's just.
We could probably cop that to, like, maybe that's why Big Bear Choppers did all the dirt they did a long time ago.
Yeah, but
and now they're the kings of the shit now.
Well, they're definitely not kings, right?
I don't know. I mean, it's social media. You think they were?
Well, let's be real. Like, there are companies that are pimps.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to be a pimp.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not trying to discredit his company. I'm just saying, like, I was around when all the shit went down with his stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's kind of like, maybe I'm an asshole for even bringing it back up, but it's kind of like, you just want to raise your hand, like, y'all remember when he fucked everybody over on people bought motorcycles from this guy and they never came through and they never did this, and
you know,
and now he's sitting here talking about, you know, and you guys say I'm bad at customer service because I'm not interested in your solid color paint job. But that guy fucked you over.
You know, I do believe in redemption.
Yeah.
I do believe in fucking up and being able to move past that.
I just feel like maybe
you own it.
Yeah, if you own it and you maybe come back a little more humble.
No, absolutely.
You know, come back a little bit more humble and be like, you know what, man, I fucked up last time. I'm gonna keep my arrogance down to a limit. But
I think being humble is where it's at anyways. Yeah. Like, you know, you have to. This industry will humble you, in my opinion. Yeah. You know, but getting back to the deal, like, I paid my dues.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure I have a lot of dues to pay still. I don't want to jinx the karma god or whatever. Like, please don't test me. But I really believe, like, that's part of it. Mm-hmm. That's part of why I hope to be around in another 20 years, is because I've been through that shit. You know, I know not to do that again.
Yeah.
I won't do it. Like, I will not fucking do it. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, over the years, you have these experiences and these ups and downs in business, and you learn what to do and not to do. I want more of this and less of this, basically. And
amen.
You know, and when you're trying to grow and evolve, you're gonna come into new challenges and new issues that you got to fail at or you succeed at. So it's just the way it is. But good thing about when you're older, you usually have a little bit more stockpiled. So it's like, you know what, I fucked up. I'm gonna cash this out. I'm gonna take care of this.
No, absolutely. You have more resources.
Yeah.
Like, I know my PG&E bills and my rent's paid this month. I don't have to stress on that.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a big deal anymore. At the time, it was. You know, my overhead was way more than it should have been. Mm-hmm. You know, but that young guy starting out doesn't have that. Like, you know, I can't imagine starting over. Can you? I guess you're thinking about it. You're thinking about starting over.
I'm thinking about starting. I'm thinking about evolving into something else. You know, but yeah, I'm not gonna say I hate on these people, but there's a little bit of jealousy when I think of someone that has like a super dope building that they've had or was given to them, or, you know, and I try not to get too wrapped up in it because it's just a passing thought, you know, but the good thing about it is, like, for me, what makes me happy about my business is that I built a big business, I gave it away, and I started fresh, and my business is now bigger than the other one that's still going.
No, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. And my first business was a partnership that went crazy, and I had to walk away. It's the same thing. Like, just like, hey, I got to do my own thing.
So yeah, there's benefits to it, but yeah, I just want to evolve, you know, and I want to, all the new ideas and all the new things I got going on, I want to apply them to the business, and then 5 years from now, I'm hoping that I'll be evolved into something else, and that business can grow and change, just like we got to change these bikes to look like they do for the times.
Absolutely.
You know, who's to say in 5 years from now that I won't be the GS 1200 king of fucking United States?
And that would be badass.
You know?
Right? Like,
yeah.
So
I'll be happy because I'll be into that.
I think a mistake a lot of people make is, you know, like, the FXR jam. Like, I've never been, because I've never been able to break away from the thing.
And it's far for you.
Well, yeah, Maggie Valley, like,
It's the other side of the country.
you know, like,
That's not a day's ride. Yeah.
You know, I can't shut the shop down for 3 weeks. Can't do it.
Yeah.
You know, but like the FXR only thing, like, that's so badass that it's FXR only because it's FXR only, but it's so fucked up because it's FXR only. Like, what about my buddy who's got a fucking Electroline?
Yeah.
Like, I want to bring that guy so he can see what this shit's really about. And maybe he's going to join the cult. You know what I mean? He's going to drink the Kool-Aid.
Well, that's, you know, we talked about that before in other ones, but I think that's why you need, you know, FXRs of California. That's why you need your campout. That's why you need all these other things that FXRs are predominant at, so people can be introduced, and then they could, you know, there's a different type of show for everything. And I think that's the goal, is like FXR Jam is FXRs. You can drive another bike there. You can.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to get beat up. You know what I mean?
Of course not.
But the thing is, it's like there is something special about it being.
So you've been?
Oh, I haven't, but I've talked to all the people that do it. You know,
right.
I plan to stop through there on the way back from Indianapolis this year on my road glide, because I'm an FXR enthusiast. So, you know, if they got a problem with that, then they can.
So,
you know,
I don't think anybody's going to have a problem with that in person.
Yeah, in person.
On the internet, some guys get a little too big.
Yeah, well, you know, the internet, like the Facebook pages and stuff, it's like the lottery, right? The only way you're going to get involved is if you get involved. And I don't get involved on that shit. Like, you know, getting on there, you know, I said this before. When I was building my gold bike, I had a question, and the question never got answered, and I had to explain myself to people. And that's the one thing in my life that I do not like to do, is explain myself. You know, it's like I'm on there asking how, you know, has anybody used a cross universal rear brake?
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. You don't know the guys, and like they just assume that I'm some nobody that knows nothing about motorcycles because I'm asking a question if someone else has used this thing before. And so it got to a point where I was like, you know what, man? You motherfuckers are garage. That my ego kicked in. Motherfucker, I'm me. Y'all are garage dudes. Like, eat my dick. You know what I mean? Like,
right? No,
that's how I start feeling. Because you get into this defensive mode where you got to prove yourself to these guys, and that's not where I want to be.
See, so for me, that's kind of when I kind of stepped away a little bit. You know, is for me the Facebook thing was, if I have some knowledge and I want to give it to a guy, that's cool. But this is what I do for a living, like all day, every day. And like I caught myself having to have arguments with some dude who, you know, maybe did it once, you know, or his buddy did it once, you know, and I was like, you know what, let me step back. You know, for me, what it is I'm going to share some pictures. I want to look at other people's pictures. I want to be inspired by other people's builds, you know, and if I have a question, I'll ask. You know.
Some of these dudes are putting pictures out there that you can be inspired by, but the ones that have nothing to show, got to be relevant somehow. I'm gonna be a dick to this guy. I'm gonna troll this guy.
You know, and I don't get all that. You know, there's a lot of.
I don't feel like it's as much on the FXR. I know it's there, but I don't feel like it's nowhere near as bad as like the Dynaholics and the.
Dynaholics are just a bunch of kids,
dude. You want to hear some? You want to see some drama on Facebook when it comes to shit? Go to any big wheel bagger forum. Period.
Oh, I've never
been.
Never been.
Dude, it is like, holy shit, it's like fucking watching Jerry Springer. It's like everybody's fucking bitching about everything and arguing and blah, 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 and blah.
Yeah.
It is like the most negative pot you could ever be a part of.
You know what was kind of cool, and I think some people got upset or whatever. So with the FXRs of California thing, a guy named RJ Russell, a guy out of New Hampshire, I think, kind of was running that show for a little while, and he had a little clout behind him, you know, so he's like, nothing negative on these pages. We're not going to turn this into a fucking soapbox. You know what I mean? And for a lot of years that worked really well. You know, it was nice that the FXR's, the California page, was something that, you know, it wasn't there to badmouth companies. It wasn't there to you know, oh, this fairing fucking sucks, use my buddy's fairing, or any of that shit. You know, and that's one thing that was really kind of special about that page. At least it was for me, you know, that it was something that it was just a positive deal. You know, like a bunch of like-minded individuals.
Just like if you were sitting down around a campfire having a conversation.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's what it was. You know, and then, you know, the commercial thing always kicks in. You know, it's kind of, you know, the commercial thing is, I'm not going to belittle anybody or be upset that people are making money from it because they put a lot of hard work into this shit. But for me, what was really special about it was a positive place where people just got together and bullshitted about FXRs. Then egos got involved. People started trying to make money off of it. You know, and that's always going to lead to competition. You know, whether it's, oh, my friend JD Fab's fairing is better, or Deviant's fairing is better, or whoever. You know, who gives a shit what
people
you
used
like?
to always say, like, Connolly, he makes a good product, but he's such an asshole. I'm like, I would probably be an asshole too if that many people were trying to buy shit from me every day and I couldn't handle it. You know what I mean?
Like, I don't know what's going on in that.
Yeah, like it's tough.
I've used JD Fab shit. It's fucking amazing. I've used Deviant stuff, and I've had really good luck with it. Like, I'll use both of them. I don't. It's not like I don't have to be on Team Jacob. You know, like this ain't Twilight. You know, like I don't. It's not that big of a deal to me.
Yeah.
You know, but for a lot of people, it really is. Well, they take it like so personal and this and that. You know, and I look at that shit as a refuge. I love it.
Yeah.
This is what is cool for motorcycling for me is the FXR community learning, taking this bike they don't make anymore and making it something better than like
it did, yeah.
You can't give me a CVO Road Glide for my red bike. I would not trade you straight across. Just won't do it.
Yeah.
Fuck that bike. You know? You can't buy my shit.
Yeah.
Like, so that's what's cool about FXRs for me.
So when's the, I guess we need to start wrapping this. When's the show for the camp out? What's the details for the camp out?
Okay, so the camp out is Friday, July 6th. Everybody hopefully get up there, kind of get set up. I plan on having some music in the evening. There's a couple big bonfire areas. Beautiful meadow.
Yeah, y'all got to be
stream.
careful with fires out here, right? Because they turn into wildfires.
You know, yeah, we don't. I do not want to be responsible for burning down the fucking.
Yeah, didn't last year we have it was last year when you had all the fires in Napa.
It's every year we have crazy fires, but
I didn't think about that.
This is an event center. It's like not just he does a lot of events there. So he has big bonfires, but they're in certain areas. So not everybody has their own little, fire.
Yeah.
So
that's cool too because it brings people to more of a community part of it.
Exactly. I think so. It's not commercial. It's just going to be like we're going to have some stickers. Depending on the level of buy-in we have, I may be able to do T-shirts or not. There's going to be a food vendor, but it's going to be like bring your own beer.
Yeah.
And
dude, if you do it this way and you just let it naturally grow into whatever it's going to turn into, I think that's how Sturgis comes about. That's how these big events come to form, by letting things naturally grow because of, a couple people that are enthusiastic about it, creating opportunity, other people have a good time at it, and it barrel rolls everybody's collective ideas to build.
That's the idea. Like we're going to hopefully do this camp out. I flirted with the idea of doing a ride Saturday. There's up to Silver Lake and back. And I kind of want to, but then am I trying to pack too much into a weekend?
You just need to let people do what they want to do. I mean, you pick a good area so that there's plenty of opportunities for them to ride, because not everybody doesn't want to just sit and be still. Let them do what they want.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, when you come back, come sit here around this campfire and talk about it.
Yeah, I think that, I really think it's going to be like no agenda. Just, ride on, do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can help to build the motorcycle community. Hopefully, because of what I do here, Binford's is busier and Double D and whatever other shops. Well, there's more people out riding motorcycles, and we all benefit from that.
Yeah.
That's really, and myself included, not necessarily benefit like as my shop, but benefit as in I love motorcycles. Mm-hmm. And I love people who ride motorcycles. So that's the whole idea with the camp out.
I think it's going to be good. So it's going to be July 6th through the 8th?
July 6th through the 8th. So set up Friday. Do whatever you want to do on Saturday.
Great riding around.
Beautiful riding. Nice twisty roads everywhere you go.
What's the weather like usually in July up here? Still like 60,
it's going to get warm
70,
during
80s.
the day. It'll drop down in the night, but comfortable weather.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, we just hang out and go home, and it should be a great time. The website's dreamridescampout.com. So if you're thinking about buying a ticket, try and get one as soon as possible. That way,
it'll help you kind of orchestrate everything.
Exactly.
And
I don't know. I know I'm gonna have a great time if 30 people show up or 300 people show up.
Yeah.
But if 300 people show up, now we're getting a band. We're doing some crazy shit.
Yeah.
If 30 people show up, we're gonna have a great time, and it'll
maybe
just
cook
be
some
different.
hot dogs. Yeah.
It'll be different.
Yeah.
And so we've had a lot of buy-in so far, but if people are planning on going, please buy your ticket as soon as possible.
Cool. Hopefully they'll hear it. Also, I guess Wednesday night we're gonna have the bike night at your shop.
Oh yeah. Wednesday night we're just doing a little impromptu bike night for you guys, and it's just gonna be a good time.
Just chilling.
My events are no agenda. Like we just hang out. You
Talk
go home
bikes.
when you want to go home, and we talk about bikes.
Cool. So everybody can follow you on Instagram, Facebook. What's all your shit?
So my Instagram is @DreamRidesJohn.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook is John Jessup's Dream Rides. And then, so that's all. I don't do Twitter or nothing. I don't even know what Twitter is, really.
I keep trying to get on there, but I have no idea how to use it to my advantage.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anybody who does Twitter.
Yeah.
So, I don't think
That's
we're
for famous.
out.
That's for famous people.
Yeah, I'm definitely not that guy.
All right, cool. Well, appreciate you having us out, man. We got 3.5 hours here, so
3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I gotta pee again.
All right.
All right, thanks, man.
All right, man. Thank you.